Oh yeah, I got it. Clang, bang, clang, went the big iron door. They put me in a cell with a concrete floor. 9 other men in that cell with me, moaning their fate with destiny. Clang, bang, clang, clang, bang, clang, clang. Early in the morning at the crack of dawn, they wake us to the tune of a bong, bong, bong. A line up for chow, mushing hard bread, drinking black coffee with that noise in my head. Clang, bang, clang, clang, bang, clang, bang, clang. The judge said to me, now, boy, you've had it.
Those things that you use for like your computer to get the dust out, right?
No,
I don't.
That's what it might
get
be.
some duster.
I'll get one of those.
We can
next
huff
time.
that too.
We get,
We get high.
There's
Get,
always huffing.
talk shit.
All right, so start from the beginning.
Yes.
All right.
Hopefully the last time.
Welcome to another episode of Axe to Grind. I am one of your hosts. My name is Bob,
I'm Tom.
I'm Patrick.
and we want to start today's episode by thanking our sponsor, Triple B Records. If you go to triplebrecords.limitedrun.com, enter the coupon code Axe to Grind, spell it out, you'll receive 10% off your entire order. Sam was gracious enough to let us know that this week he is reissuing the first Eco Strike 7-inch as well as the Magnitude 7-inch.
Very cool.
I'm going to recommend both of those. Cool, relevant hardcore to be checking out. Awesome that he's making those more available for everyone. But also I'm going to recommend, Patrick picked, what was your favorite Triple B shirt?
I like Intellectual Lion.
And I like Alien. So, that puts us where you see it, So, designed by the former singer of Free Spirit. Pretty cool. So, thanks again to Triple B Records.
Look at my man, One Take Jake over here, banging it out one time, not like me, kind of stuttering, forgetting, saying
And I have to. I always feel like I have to tag it with something clever and you know what I mean. He's just
All
very,
biz.
To the point.
All biz.
Bobby Biz.
Smooth jazz.
Pretty good.
So, last episode we got kind of heavy.
We did.
Yes.
We did.
Thank you.
And it was a nice test because it seems as though maybe all of you, 99%, got the thrust of the thing, which was not that you have to agree with us.
No.
It was that this was a conversation, and hopefully we entertained you in some sort of way, but also it is meant for further conversation. That applies to the music that we talk about and also sometimes the heavy shit. So, thank you. It's maybe it's fucked up and sad that I got to say this because maybe I got low expectations of people, but I genuinely appreciated that what I saw come out of it was people talk about it in a fucking civil way. You know what I mean? I was fucking jazzed.
Yeah, and to me, one of the things that we hoped to get out of this whole thing was talking about music, but also talking about other things with nuance, because a lot of the time we just declare things at each other and just throw out like, LOL, that's stupid, ha ha ha. This thing, really? And that's tough. And I get that. I get that impulse. It's funny.
I think this is also part of being maybe a little bit older, and maybe we come off hella NPR and lame as fuck right now. But come on, dog. I'm just, you got to catch me in a real spot to not want to have a real talk. You know what I mean? But the show is a real talk show. So you're probably not going to catch me like that here. You know what I mean? You're not going to see me. So I was grateful that everybody got it. That's cool. What that means is that we're going to move forward being able to talk about shit in a real way where sometimes in your view, one of us, two of us, or all of us are going to get it wrong. And also sometimes our guest is going to be objectionable to you. You're going to say that motherfucker doesn't got it right. And I like that we are being treated like a real fucking talk show where it's like, I don't like the skinny one, but
I don't like what he said about this, but it made me think about X, and and made me think about how I disagree with that person. And if you think those things, you feel those things, please reach out to us because we want a conversation with you. It's definitely one of the reasons that I think all of us are involved in hardcore in our relative ways is that the idea that your voice is part of this whole thing. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is no right and wrong in situations like this, and I think there's people on both sides that you will never convince otherwise.
Oh, sure.
And that middle ground is kind of who we're talking to.
Well, know what I mean? Well, that's the nuanced conversation. If we were talking about something black and white, it would have lasted 10 seconds where we go, all right, well,
you're wrong.
Yeah,
next.
I guess somebody's getting beat up. You know what I mean?
Right,
or I guess
sure.
something. But that wasn't This had more moving parts to it, and it was dope. Again, it's kind of fucking depressing that I got to say this, but
dope. You guys acted human.
Yeah.
Dope. Everyone's human.
Yeah. Dope. You were down to talk.
Yeah.
Because I'm straight up, I'm getting fucking sick of all the fucking yelling in life. You know what I mean?
In general. Yeah. Outside of this scene.
I'm getting sick of all this shit. I just want to fucking talk like normal human beings. So
even when it was cool to be mean, we went the other way. We're gonna throw that on a shirt sometime.
I like it.
With that,
yes.
Tom, you got a chance to listen to the episode.
Yes, I listened to it right after.
What did you think? Because Patrick and I might maybe put you in a weird position where you had to be our audience while we talked about the damn thing.
Right.
But I think you actually added a ton by being able to be that voice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that worked out, like having listened back to it. I mean, I think you guys did a really solid job in explaining it without kind of coloring it with any of your own expectations or biases or whatever. I mean, I think as, a guy that grew up going to sketchy New York hardcore shows, it's so kind of new to me to kind of hear this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And life is tough. Whether it be in here, whether it be out there, stuff is going to happen. People say terrible shit. People have ulterior motives when they do certain things. And the thing that kind of, kind of resonated as I listened to it was Patrick saying you'd have to put a fucking gun to my head to tell me that I have, and like we said last week too, if you're a fucking rapist, if you're a fucking assaultive in any way, man, woman, whatever, get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
But I mean, I think it goes so deep. When it's someone when the person that was aggrieved is it's cool.
Yeah,
she apologized.
I'm largely over this.
Let's get the fuck on with it. You know what I mean? That was probably people are terrible. People put up with shit all the time. This isn't the first time that that woman had to deal with it.
Yeah.
Probably won't be the last. Right. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, in this world. So it's if she's ready to kind of get on with it, and someone else is picking up the mantle for her. Step back. The woman, I think you're almost infantilizing. Is that the word? I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
The person, if she wanted to fight, she'd stick up for herself.
In this one, it felt a little mansplaining, to be honest. But
right?
But,
I mean,
but here's what I think. What you just said was I listened I only listened to the Invisibilia episode once, but right. I edited our episode for volume, so I listened to it 3 times. Right. So. What I took away that got me thinking was, and this is up for discussion with our audience that I now know to be so able to discourse.
Yes,
I love it.
There's Patrick here.
There's maybe two different things that draw people to punk or hardcore music, and I think one of them is a wantingness to create a new space for yourself, to create a new culture for yourself, a new community for yourself.
Yep.
And then there's another draw, and we're not going to talk about the bad draws.
Sure.
You know what I mean? We're not
of course. People are coming to cause chaos or whatever.
Yeah. Baseball bat draws.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the other draw, which is not I want to build a new community, but straight up I just reject the other one, and I ended up here, and I am here because I don't like to be told what to do. And I think that it's worth talking about that, having listened to that last episode and thinking about this, thinking about punk and hardcore in a
larger kind of
completely
super meta way.
Yeah, I fall very clearly into that second camp.
I was going to ask you that. Reject the cubicle and all.
I straight up I'm in this music because it's where I best express myself and
best fit,
and that's
right. I mean,
but not because I'm trying to make a new community for myself.
Right.
I'm not. There's no utopian ideal for me. It's truly not to sound totally weird, but it's it's more there's just some people with like a pioneer attitude towards shit. I'd rather, like just live free or die. Just please keep your hands off me. When I was in the larger world, I felt a little too confined, and I just needed a space. I feel less confined. Now, with that in mind, maybe if I'm right, and those are two different distinct identities, like the
dichotomy,
the faith void split is.
Oh, that's an interesting. Yep.
Is if you are in the first camp, if you are trying, if
you're part of the faith,
if hardcore is your space to build your own community and in opposition or alongside the other thing, the larger world, then I totally get how a dude like me comes off course. I really do. You know what I mean? Because I'm not interested in what you're interested in. I'm just expressing myself. I'm smearing my diarrhea all over, and that's not you.
And if you are the person who feels like you're alone in a room full of outsiders, even there, then there's probably people who resonate. And I mean, that's one of the reasons that I relate well to you, even though many probably would place me in this, like, oh, you build a community, because I do in a lot of senses. And
I thought about all of our dynamics as as I was getting entirely too heavy. And I thought about how to place you. Both of you fellas are kind of, in a respect, true believers. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Right. However, even in that sense, I fall outside of the lines of a lot of the circles that I circle. And I think Tom might be too. But for me, I don't, even with the people who I do associate with, I'm not the exact same. And it's interesting. And it's one of the pieces that I like about stuff is that, I embrace the different. I am intrigued. So this is a funny thing. A long time ago, the singer of Floor Punch said a thing that I resonated with me. We were talking about something, and he was talking about this guy who was a very nice person. And he said, nice guy, good guy, always been kind, doesn't bring anything to the table. And that just was interesting to me, is that you can share all the interests in the world, and there might be someone out there who me and them just hit every single note. Yeah, you like this? I like that. You like that? I like that. You like that? That's not that interesting to me.
No.
I prefer difference. And I kind of like that friction, and I am interested in it.
Right. And I think ultimately, and like I said this before, and I've said this for the last fucking 20-something years, like, we're all here because we're fucked up in whatever way. You know what I mean? And whether it be like you're here to like, because this is the way you want to express yourself, you're here because it's like there's some kind of kindred spirits out there. And like, think of all the hundreds and hundreds of people and thousands of hardcore kids you've met over the years. There's probably a handful, maybe 10 to 15 that you really, like, I'll see them 10 years down the line and it'll be like, I just saw them on tour.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think we're all sort of fucked up. And I think in that being so fucked up, we pick on each other. And it's so fucking ridiculous. And like, we like to hold ourselves to a better standard than the outside world. Like, we're our own little thing. And it's creeping in, and we're not fucking policing ourselves well enough, and we're not, you know what I mean? We still have those same high school fucking nonsense, that every jack off every jack off civilian does the same kind of thing.
That's like an interesting commentary to me, is the idea of some of these like social tropes, and like maybe it's cliche for us to use the whole high school thing, but it fits. Is that often those kind of things continue to recur in social scenes. And we do hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Right. But it definitely gets stratified, though.
Yeah.
It's like the cool weird. Kids.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it's like, reject that shit. It blows my mind. Be friends with whoever. Talk to the people who are way different than you. I read something where people are like, oh, you guys you need to talk about fast hardcore. That's the kind of hardcore I like. Good friend of mine said to me the other day, he's like, all the music you like is so fast compared to what's out there right now. And I'm like... And I was thinking about it because I don't think of and I'm like, I guess you're right, huh? But, it's doing this podcast with you guys is probably more interesting than me talking to myself about fucking Mind Eraser. You know what I mean?
It might be, it might not be.
Who knows? There's a Patreon episode, so please sign up.
We're going to do a Mind Eraser?
Just me soliloquy.
About Mind Eraser. All dance for justice.
No, I don't even know if that's interesting. You guys asked for that.
You feel that strongly about Mind Eraser?
What do you mean?
Was that just an example, or do you
just an example? Okay. No, but I do really like Cave a lot.
Okay.
Some people prefer Glacial Rain, but Cave's the record for me.
All right. That was like I guess I got missed But
No, a lot of people did, but no.
Miss me with
You
that
know what?
shit.
Because this actually segues good into the next conversation.
Let's go.
Mind Eraser Cave is the record that I like as this like really fast record, but I think the band actually sort of is like, we don't like that record anymore, but they dirge into this kind of flow as an LP goes, and I love it. The Here's record, Here's Collective, that we discussed on last week's episode.
Yes.
We actually got a message about it that I want to read because I believe passion and enthusiasm is infectious, so we'll talk about that. But the email basically asked the question like, oh, you know what, the abrasiveness was it? And I said two things. One, it didn't hit me because I didn't feel the flow of the record. And I don't know that it was written to flow.
No, I think that's undeniable. It's not meant to flow. I think that those are songs, maybe not an album.
Right. And I mean, I listened to it in the interim, and I fucking loved it. Holy shit.
I wasn't shocked that you liked it that much, but I was surprised that it hit that much of a sweet spot for you.
I thought it was fucking incredible. Like,
It feels different and way more aggressive than almost any of the other shit we're talking
so
about,
heavy.
right?
And if like you think you listen to heavy shit, you don't.
Well,
Yeah.
It's
Get on the
moshy, it's fast, the vocals are incredible, and I watch videos. The most surprising part of the whole thing, it's two people.
what is the...
Oh, and be careful of what videos you watch, because I watched a video of them that was a little older, maybe from the church in Philly.
Sure.
Bad video.
No, this one, I
Bad
watched
set.
one from Vitus maybe 3 weeks ago or
Okay.
a month ago, and it's just
I think
a
it's a
guitar
band-
player with like an
Wall of
ocean of
amps.
amps.
I think it's a band that's like consistently upgrading, which I respect. Like,
Yeah.
but so it resonated with you. I was somewhat surprised, not because I didn't think you'd like it. I just didn't think you'd be over the moon for it.
Yeah, I loved it. That's so fucking great.
But do you know what? After the final summation, what it reminded me of? Do you remember what's the Nails song that that ends with Todd? Just it does the thing that tragedy songs sometimes do, and like some heavier
The fade out,
yeah, but with
anthemic, where it's like, how does this play in the live setting when you can't do the fade out?
right. But
You just walk very slowly away from the microphone.
but it some of her stuff worked in that same Nails way, where it's like, do I like this? I can't tell you. Do I like how obscenely aggressive it is? Yeah, I do. You know?
I really enjoyed it a lot.
So, and I said the second part was I didn't think it was written to flow, so that's kind of there, and that I listened to it while driving in traffic through Staten Island, and that's
that might be too
possibly
aggressive.
That'll ruin
that's-
anything.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll ruin Age of Quarrel for you.
So we got an email from one of our longtime listeners who's been interacting with the show,
Absolutely.
Kate, who said, "Yo, thanks for talking about that new Here's album. I checked it out, and now it's my favorite album so far this year. It's been on repeat all day. I just came out as genderqueer 2 weeks ago, and this is fucking huge for me. I actually found myself crying a bit when I heard some of the songs because of how deeply the lyrical, emotional resonance, which is fucking weird for an album this fucking heavy. If you want to share this, feel free, but could you refer to me as Kate W. and use feminine pronouns? Thank you." And we got permission from Kate to share that. Thank you so much. And she has been a long-time listener, and that was just a cool thing to hear. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So we get a kind of, to me, an absurd amount of emails, and I'm glad that I'm not the one that responds to them.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So shout out to everybody that's emailing, but that shit is that's nice. You know what I mean? Because what we hear every week is more and more. I pause the show, listen to the shit you're talking about, you know what I mean, and then
So
come
cool.
back.
Yeah.
I love that sort of shit. So,
Yeah.
and particularly shout out if we turn you on to, like,
Yeah,
you know,
let us know. That's cool.
well, and here's the deal. Like, some people thought we lit up Crime Watch a little bit last week, and I did, I think. But
Yeah, I think we did.
But here's
Felt
the
even-handed, but that's okay.
but here's the deal. A ton of people hit pause on us. Went and listened to
that.
Crime
Yeah.
Watch,
And
determined that they like it more than us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then came back and were like, all right, keep going. Let's see what your bullshit is about.
All right, you
And-
fuckers.
Or some
Let me see
people
how I
listen and
disagree.
are like, "Yep, you got it.
Sure.
You guys are right."
Sure, and
that's fine.
But this is just that shit that I love, man. Like I just, it would be dope if we could continue to do a thing where we could talk about real shit, and also as in all things, look for yourself. You know what I mean?
And it's meant to be interactive. Don't
Look for
fucking
it.
take our word for it.
Look for yourself. All right.
All right, so big shout out to Here's Collective,
Yeah.
because I don't know that record was necessarily on the tip of everybody in kind of our circles, at least
Yeah.
not my circles,
Yeah.
and I think it would appeal to a lot of people.
Absolutely. And I mean, the guest stars in that are insane.
They are. I only like a couple of what they actually do.
Sure. Like I didn't even notice Sadie on one of those songs. Sadie from
great.
Gloss.
She was great.
No, she's great. But like it's
such a
Shirley
cacophony.
Manson. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like how?
I felt like that was an oversell. Her part was purely like studio. And maybe I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. But it was cool. It's awesome to be.
That's incredible.
I mean, you still put that on the fucking for fans.
Oh, you put that. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Shirley Manson could have just walked through the room, and I would have put it on the fucking thing.
If she butt tooted on the way through, I'd be like, that's what we're opening with.
Martin from Los Crudos, Slim Press.
Yeah.
His spot was really good.
Yeah,
really
dude.
hit.
Yeah.
We're gonna
you should check it out. If you like heavy music, fast music. If you like hardcore, you should fucking check it out because I think you'd be surprised and how great it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do some quick hits.
All right. That was the Tom catches up.
Preamble.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, but it was
Tom's
good.
job is fucking.
We got
killing him
esoteric.
slowly.
Yeah. Oh. It's been busy.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Well, at some point, we're going to talk about your interesting kind of spot between being a lifer hardcore dude and being somewhat involved in the criminal justice system. And how that impacts and how, policing ourselves and yada, yada, yada. So, but maybe not today.
Maybe not today.
I think you just made him sound like a cop, though.
Yeah, I'm not a cop. I'm the opposite.
Yo,
of a cop.
yeah, opposite. Copposite.
Copposite. He's the
there we
cop.
go.
I like
The
that.
Copposite. That's our Axe to Grind punk band. I play bass. Pat's on drums. You're singing.
There you go.
All right, cool.
Quick hits. A celebration of the life and art of Caleb Schofield.
Yes.
Show on June 13th, 2018 at the Royale in Boston.
Yep.
Cave In, Old Man Gloom, Converge, Young Widows, The Cancer Conspiracy. 100% of all proceeds to be donated to the Schofield family.
So go to it. If you are in New England, definitely go to it.
Yeah.
If you are young and kind of this stuff isn't necessarily your bag, let me just tell you that this was super important for a few years. Like you could argue that it resonates still with Converge still makes a mark, and certainly there's a million Caven fans in the world, but like this shit was popping more than you can understand how much it was popping.
Oh yeah,
and you should go just to see what the fuck you missed.
And the energy, I think all that still has an energy. Old Man Gloom, actually, of that stuff, I really like some Old Man Gloom records, which is, I think a lot of people miss on that, and that's fine. It's just heavy.
Right.
And it's kind of more atmospheric. Anyways, cool opportunity to check it out. And once again, we're hoping to encourage you to support the ongoing efforts to support his family, and also to encourage you as individuals to check out this man's art.
So that's the heavy part of that. The less heavy aside, is it now acceptable for ISIS to have a comeback? The band ISIS.
Thanks for clarifying.
Because we've almost forgotten about the terrorist organization or caliphate ISIS.
Yeah.
And I think we are now.
Can they come back because of the name? As long as they don't put bombs on their shirts.
Okay. All right.
It's iffy.
That's a reference to the shirt I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, which we talked about last week.
Right, but I feel like they've
same
gone on to
shirt.
do other things that are like kind of adjacent, like
Sumac.
And not ISIS.
Yeah. So I
other
mean,
band.
like, is it really necessary? Like, you did. It's not like you went on to like some like trip hop thing. It's like you're kind of doing the same shit. Anyway.
Yeah, but ISIS fans are like
huge.
Do you remember
ISIS
how?
was
Oh, I know. I remember.
Crazy.
I remember
that
them getting so big and be like, "Have you motherfuckers ever heard Neurosis?"
Listen,
Yeah.
Like, it was like they took half the name and then they took the entire sound.
listen. There was a year. Now you were probably playing bigger rooms that year, so you weren't in the basements with me. There was a year that every basement band became an ISIS clone.
Yes.
Yep.
It was fucking insane. Everybody
You're
just...
right at that moment, 2000,
Holy
2001.
fuck.
Yeah.
Weird.
That was aggravating.
Weird scene.
I like how he makes it sound like when you guys were playing in the garden and I was fucking sweating it out in the basements. I was playing 100 kids. You were playing at like 112. It wasn't like a
support.
yes.
Art. Kind of on the more let's be dopey. RVAmag.com. Don't go check it out. Fucking whatever.
Don't give
There's
them the
actually,
clicks.
you know what? Two sides. RVA Mag published an article called Two-Step Tinder, blah, blah, blah. Corny. Bad look.
Well, look, we get sent one of these every fucking week, like whether it's the Vice guy listening to straight edge music when he's high, or two-step Tinder or whatever. Firstly, anybody that's angry at this, don't worry. nobody gets paid.
gives a fuck.
Nobody
Yeah.
gets paid for these things.
And by
Don't
the
worry.
time people hear us talking about it, we're going to be getting a message. Wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Listen, I felt fucked up when we talked about Bodied Girl. Because,
one knew.
because people were like, "Who's Bodied Girl?"
Because a lot of people don't have Twitter,
Sure.
and a lot of people it was here and gone.
Yeah.
Which God bless,
Yeah,
because
good,
now that's the
good,
way that
good.
shit should be.
Yeah.
That,
But I was like,
that worked
holy-
out well.
Like, how dorky are we? 'Cause
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
people that were far younger than us are like, what are you guys talking about? And I was
No, shout out Sam. We spoke well on that.
So,
Yeah.
where are we at?
like, Two-step Tinder.
Two-step Tinder is what we're talking
Oh,
about.
Okay, listen. It seemed that the thrust of the one, two articles came out about Richmond. One, we're not going to comment on because it's somebody's personal experience that seems legitimate. And who are we?
Who are we to fucking question
right.
that?
Well, no, we're going to talk about it's an article about misogyny in the Virginia underground music scene, which I think was mostly based around Richmond and Virginia Beach. And I wanted to separate that from this two-step Tinder article.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the two-step Tinder article, we're going to shit on you all day. People just trying to get their rocks off. We're not mad at that.
It also,
You
like,
know, and I think they were publishing photos, and some people felt the way about that.
Yeah.
I'm on I got mixed feelings about that because while I think that's tacky and rude,
Mean-spirited.
I don't know if it's wrong simply because it is a public app like that you're putting yourself out
Can I
on.
ask you guys? Either of you guys fuck with Tinder ever?
I mean,
I've been
when I was-
committed
when I
for
was-
too long.
When I was single a million years ago,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool.
I was terrible. No, I was
I
terrible.
bet you were
it's
terrible.
terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
terrible.
It's terrible. I have no interest in it. It's fun, but I don't really.
See, I was just bad at it. Like,
I
Well,
suck
that's
at
the
it
thing.
too.
All us
my
broken
God.
toys. That's terrifying to think about having to be single at this point and figure out how to do
Yeah.
these things.
But I mean, I think it was just kind of like, all right, so you're aggregating all this stuff. So, like, big shocker, a bunch of hardcore kids in town.
yeah.
Some of them might want to meet,
Look,
a man or a woman and get weird.
Yeah,
Is there
God
anything wrong with that?
Love it. I guess if I was an attractive male or female who was on there and getting a bunch of WYDs and U-ups, I would be kind of like, damn, this is annoying.
Look,
But
but I'm putting myself out there.
They can't message you unless you guys have linked up already.
Ooh, right. Okay.
It's not like you're not getting like direct messages.
oh yeah, no, it's not her.
It's not.
I
It's
mean,
not Instagram. It's fucking like you guys have to like each other before anyone can contact the other.
Yeah, and look, I'm sure you still get hella weird.
Oh, I
fucking
can't
shit.
imagine being
Right.
a female, a
Right.
woman on that. It's got to be fucking
Right.
out of control.
But I will say that, yeah, look, we all know how dating apps work. The idea that punks have it is not a worthy article. I'm sorry.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just
Yeah,
not. It's,
straight clickbait. You heard that people click on this stuff and you caught it.
it's just very vicey.
What's up with like hardcore becoming like this thing that people
Talk about?
want to
They-
write little clickbait articles about?
Yeah.
You know why? Because assholes like us talk about it and people click on the
The
goddamn.
mainstream motherfuckers figured us all out and figured we all on the computer too much.
true.
I mean, on our phones too much.
We've
Sure.
talked to look. Hardcore kids are the earliest adopters of everything. You know what I mean?
We had Makeout Club before all this shit.
everything. So like, and look, that's not me big upping this culture because we adopt the dumbest shit first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which some of which we'll probably talk about in a little while.
And
so
funny parallel is that in like in economic type settings, we think hardcore metal people very close, kind of like weird cousins to each other. But hardcore people are early adapters. The first to get off buying physical, the first to be buying digital, first to get off digital,
metal
first to
still
be streaming.
collecting CDs.
Metal still going
Yeah.
buying CDs.
Yep.
Heard about it from record stores being like, yeah, I can have this hardcore or Run for Cover or pop punk band come in and I have to make them buy the CD to get the autograph or to get a seat. I can have yokel metal band from 25 years ago and it's my best day that month.
Yep.
Wow.
So, yeah. So clickbait article, no. Misogyny in the Virginia Underground, feels like there's something to that. I don't know enough to comment on validity, anything. But you know what? Especially when we're in a room at most of these kind of shows, hardcore definitely, where it's 75-25 at best.
Yeah.
Take a minute and read it. Just to educate yourself and just to think about another perspective. I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's wrong.
You
I
know,
read it.
There
I was
really
like,
is no right or wrong.
Yeah,
Back,
right.
you know?
And I think they preface it in a really personal
Yeah,
way as
and
well.
it's not geographically restricted. Let's be fucking realistic. It's not like Richmond and Virginia Beach are the only places that this bullshit is happening.
No, but I will say, in my experience, that there are certain scenes that are more broy, and Richmond.
And there's more scenes that are more open-minded or
Absolutely.
inclusive. Yeah.
Sure.
And Richmond, look, we talked about a different Richmond the other day, and we've also talked about Richmond basement scene. We talk about Richmond a lot on this.
Yeah, we really do.
Richmond is the Boston of 18 years ago.
Richmond.
quite an accolade. But so here's the thing. It has been my experience that Richmond is hella broy. You know what I mean? I have
this tour's not going through Richmond, is it?
Yeah. Look, I've got a lot of troubles. You know what I mean? But no, Mary from Self Defense is a Richmond. You know, she's
Okay.
so it's like, I mean, there was a period where even if you were a woman, it was still kind of it was a broy scene even for women. You know what I mean? So it's just, Richmond has been a broy scene for a long time. That may be changing. I don't spend very much time there anymore.
Yes.
But like, it would not shock me at all if this article wasn't just this person's perspective, but was very broadly held.
And it mentioned other people, like other people came forward with their stories in that article.
And we got a couple people who are friends of the podcast who are going to come on, and from Richmond, actually, at least one or two, who have different perspectives on the whole thing. So we'll actually talk about it. But, you know, a quick hit. Don't read the fucking Tinder one. Read the other one, just for interest. All right, quick hit. Tom.
Yes.
Not last night, but the night before.
Wednesday night.
You went on a little boat ride.
I did. I went on a 3-hour tour with Hatebreed and Scarhead.
A 3-hour tour.
A 3-hour. We didn't. Yeah. It was awesome. It was kind of crazy. It was a very mixed bag of people.
How many people on the boat?
I mean, I don't want to say that. Just, you know, I don't want to like fuck with Jamie's money. But I mean, it's
because he dapped you up because you got the metalcore OG.
I'm OG. All right, man. Look inside. It's satisfaction.
Let's put it like this. Was it a good show?
Absolutely. I mean, it was packed.
Okay, that's.
But I mean, like, I feel like these boat shows, it's like, you know, when a band might do 1,000 people on land, it's probably doing 400 people at sea. Like,
that's cool. That's part of the whole deal.
Right.
Well,
right.
I don't want to capsize the boat.
That's right. I'm feeling weird if
it was pretty great.
If Perseverance hits and the boat starts rocking too much.
Yeah. It was pretty great. Like, at some points, you know, the water was pretty choppy because, and like, Isaac was like commenting on it's like, what the fuck is happening? And like the drummer's playing and like the whole boat is swaying. It was kind of impressive. Hatebreed was great. They played a ton of old shit. They had like the most rickety barricade because the show was on the floor. So it was the equivalent of seeing Hatebreed in a basement.
That's amazing.
A big basement, but a basement nonetheless, and sort of.
Was it international waters? Could you guys kind of do whatever you want out there? Or?
I mean, clearly there was some shit going on. It was in the East River. We circled the Statue of Liberty. My friend Jan was who just moved down here from Quebec was like, do you know like how many people would kill to be here right now? He's like, in between songs, they're playing Gorilla Biscuits. The Statue of Liberty is there. So I was like, by the way, thanks for that. Because he's French.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you know how much, you know what people would pay for this? And I was like, $43.50. He's like, because that's how much it was. He was like, hundreds of dollars.
We always forget that though. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
we take it for
granted.
And it was just like, he's like, I'm gonna see Hatebreed on a fucking boat in a basement, pretty much.
So
and
you
it was awesome.
Set was great. Like
Set was great. They played some new
selection.
stuff, a lot of old stuff, but they played some new stuff, and like live, it all kind of fits together. And it just, they were bringing up, it's like, this record's 21 years old. I was like, motherfucker. Like, I remember this, like, it came out yesterday.
Yo, that's one of the parts where I get real weird, and you'll hear me talk about it with different things I like, is that when new material and old material coalesce, especially in live setting, I'm like, oh, it makes me appreciate it more. And if you, for whatever reason, don't like a band's record that you do like the band, try it in that sense and try to find the placement with the rest of the material. So to get real fucking fartsy with you.
Yeah, and they use like an 808 kind of like, they do a bass drop. And it was amazing to watch.
Can you
like,
do that sound because you did it.
Wow, pretty good.
Like, so when it, like a mosh part would come in and like all like the mooks were on, like, dude, you feel it in your chest. It was great. You know what I mean? It was like, imagine going to like a Juicy J show and a hardcore show broke out.
So, Self Defense played Bloodfest a few years ago.
Detroit.
And
outside of Detroit,
is it?
We were
We
were breaking down
like a mosh part, or
we were either breaking down or setting up while Hawthorne Heights was playing.
Wow,
nearby, and they were employing an 808, but I didn't know at that time. I'm a redneck. I play small places.
Yeah, I learned what an 808 was about 15 minutes before the podcast started.
Are you serious? MPB uses it on a record.
See, I know what it is when I'm listening to a rap record. I didn't know that any live act employed it.
Apparently, a lot of like those kind of
they do now
new metal-y kind of bands. So I mean, like,
but this I learned just over the last couple of years because when we did this show, which was 2 or 3 years ago, whatever, I I nearly shit my pants when that thing hit.
It was like the brown note.
I was.
Yo, I would like to see more of it in hardcore. Actually,
It's a cool idea. Like,
Well,
I don't know who handles it.
Hold on.
Nobody in the band
Let's hear
does.
this.
So Hawthorne Heights does that shit. I nearly shit my pants. I nearly fall off a stage.
What was that on the weekend with you guys, or?
But I would like to think that you were setting up, meaning you went on after Hawthorne Heights.
To be honest,
It was a weird thing. They were co-headline.
no, but to be honest, because of the way Bloodfest is set up, we might have been.
Yeah, because
don't-
multi-stage, right?
Yeah. So at any rate, that happened. I nearly shit my pants. Is that year a local closes that festival? So something big ends it, right? And then a local plays, and I'm like, oh, is this a really big local?
Yeah.
As it turns out, kind of. It just brought an entirely different kid. I'm pretty sure it was the band Gift Giver, who you might know for their song, I Give So Little a Fuck, I Would Vote for Trump.
No, not familiar.
No.
So it's a band that's like in the Attila sort of like novelty metal.
So really smart, thoughtful. Right, got it.
But to be honest, I honestly really that I Would Vote for Trump thing was when we all thought he would lose, and they put this record out, and then it was like, oh shit.
Oh wait, you sent me.
fucked up.
Yep.
And so, but in the song, I thought it was. Look, I'm going to say something. I'm going to jump out. Of all the windows I jump out of, me defending Gift Giver is going to be the one that gets me the most shit. I thought that the politics of I care so little about the future of this planet.
I'm going to vote for this asshole.
I'll vote for this guy because, in their words, all they care about is marijuana. So I thought it was very funny. The song is not good, but it's better than Attila. You know what I mean? I'll take it. Yeah. So, but anyway, point is, they played last, and whereas Hawthorne Heights used, probably as Hatebreed did, the 808 for big moments, this band, Gift Giver, used it for every moment. So people are just like falling over. You know what I mean? Like it was surreal.
Just people shitting themselves left and right.
Yeah, it was like really
brown notes.
But it was like being at like a dance show because it was like that nonstop.
It's a little much. Tastefully done by Hatebreed.
So Hatebreed, how was Scarhead?
Scarhead was fun.
Been a long time since I saw Scarhead.
They still play the hits.
Of course.
My buddy Yvonne.
Let me just say, I don't really think Scarhead has hits, but like they always.
I think
were
you'd be surprised, man.
No, they were always fun live. Like,
I mean, songs that go over. Maybe not hits to you necessarily.
No, not good songs, but
songs that people enjoy.
That were fun to watch live in a way
to,
that just watching you go, this is a fun time.
Yeah, my buddy Yvonne.
Haters have a good time.
Of course, you can't hate those dudes. I mean, Yvonne sings for them now.
You can't hate those dudes.
I mean, in all facets, you can't hate those dudes.
It's ill-advised.
But and you know what, man? You see them, they're having a fun time. They're having a fun time.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? It's not like some bullshit, but they're having fun.
Of course, like Isaac was like, "Yo, this song goes out to Busky and his glasses." It's like, what the fuck? It's like, he's like, that's all he's got on me. Like, he was making fun of my glasses.
Major shout out to Isaac because as somebody who had to kind of recently lean in and check out Crown of Thorns and be like, oh, I appreciate this. Yeah. And I do like some of their music.
We'll have him on.
I think we should actually. We've discussed it. It's our behind the scenes. We've been discussing that.
Yes.
But I think that's cool. So yeah, you're saying
it was good. It was fun. And Yvonne is singing for them, which is funny because Yvonne's a straight edge dude from Connecticut. And talking about drugs.
You make him sound like he's one of the children from Who's the Boss. Like he's like, you know.
I mean, I don't say Connecticut in like a pejorative way. Yeah, but like.
It sounded pejorative as hell.
It did sound very New York.
From the hard streets of Trumbull, Connecticut.
Okay.
Hard. Tough dude. But yeah, he sings to them. He's a straight edge guy. It's pretty funny that he's talking about like drugs.
Yeah.
But he's great.
Ever been to what's the really shit ball?
Bridgeport. Fuck. Yeah.
Ever been to Bridgeport?
So have you been near Yale?
I did.
Fucked up.
Yale pretty fucked. Bridgeport, there's a really good Salvation Army thrift store there. Been there a few times. Shout out Alex.
I think that's like where like a lot of the 100 Demons Death Threat dudes are from. Bridgeport.
Waterbury.
That's right.
I dated a girl in Connecticut and took the train from New York, and people I think don't realize something like 4 of the 10 worst cities in the United States are on that line.
Yep.
Right. Everyone
on the southern coastal line. Yeah.
It's really fucked
Right. Everyone
up.
thinks of like Greenwich. Yeah. But it's not all Greenwich.
It's not all
If you want to see nice Connecticut, you follow the New York state border up.
Yeah.
Now that gets Danbury, which is all right. You go in a little bit, Waterbury, not great. Hartford, just kind of boring. Yeah. Bristol's nice though. Greenwich is nice, but if you go on the coastal side, yeah, it's once you get further out, it's fine. Once you pass Bridgeport, it gets better. Bridgeport's rough.
Yeah,
rough city.
I was not saying anything about Connecticut. I love a lot of Connecticut.
Okay, I don't.
I love
I'll
Vermont.
straight step to it. I think
like
it's
Connecticut.
a shit town.
Fan. All right, so next quick hit, and this is our last quick hit. Code Orange announced the new reality tour. Direct support from Twitching Tongues and Vein, though direct support's not correct because they have an alternating direct support slot. So Twitching Tongues and Vein are joining them the entire tour, and goes from Boston, does the whole country, full U.S. Let me hit the direct support slot because that's really kind of what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a short tour for full US. Am I crazy?
What is it?
3
June
weeks?
22nd to July 13th. So yeah, like 3 weeks.
Actually,
It looks like
so working band.
16 dates, something like that.
I mean, that seems like, I don't know.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hit the spots.
I'm going to be honest. If you wanted to play productive places,
That's what you should-
every tour would be fucking under 20.
Fair.
Because after that, it's your booking agent talking you into playing. You know,
These are prime-
You're going to have to drive past there
Appleton,
anyway.
Wisconsin.
So can we talk about? Let's do a quick pullback. A market, B market. This is an A market tour.
Okay.
So explain what an A market tour is.
Okay, people at home. A market is places that are big, and you'd want to. You've heard
Such
of them.
as Boston, New York, and Philly.
Yeah.
Now, if you were doing the B market, where would you hit?
Probably
Worcester.
Worcester.
Maybe Connecticut. Maybe upstate New York.
Albany. You could do.
Maybe you hit New Jersey.
maybe
Maybe you hit
Howell.
Wilkes-Barre. You know what I mean?
So everybody
B
at home,
markets.
everybody at home that has never played in a band,
Secondary, tertiary.
or isn't in the habit of booking shows, you instinctively understand what we're talking about. If you don't know if you're in an A market, you're not.
No,
You know what I mean?
and yeah, you all know it. Boston, New York, Philly,
Right.
DC, Chicago,
Atlanta,
LA,
the
San
spots,
Francisco.
yeah.
But so these terms are pretty pro. They've somehow hit our world. You don't have to use them. Please don't, maybe. But it's neat to be able to say, oh, this is a big city tour, and that's why it's 16 dates.
Right,
in,
right. If
know.
you go like, I wonder why these tours never come through my town, because you don't live.
Right.
But you probably live enough to close enough drive to
Sure.
most of these.
But this
Because there are some spots. There's some filler spots. St. Paul and Lawrence are not A markets.
see, this is worth talking about though.
Routing.
Routing is interesting because sometimes the strength of a band can be determined by how you're doing in Bs. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There are bands that do very well but can never touch a C market. You'll never see them
Never.
in your life at a C market.
Right.
They might make a living playing in their band, and they will
They
play.
just can't do. Yeah.
Yeah,
They will not. They know their spots. Is that
Yeah.
phrase? You know your spots, and they don't want to. The optics of them going and playing, whatever that. So let's say Lawrence is the B market, but they're a routing date on this tour. Wichita would be a C market,
Right.
and they will not do that because it would be so bad, and no one would go that it would hurt their band on a bigger level.
Right. I mean, there's bands that would play in an A market 1,000 kids that are doing 150.
Yeah, maybe
right?
not even.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe not.
That
even.
you're like, oh, I saw a fucking whoever at a place that's like, why is so and so playing a bar?
Right.
When they play a place with a fucking barricade in New York or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And there's also something to be said. There are bands that it's the reverse. There's you will see sometimes bands that, if we're going to be unkind, we'll say are less cosmopolitan or maybe straight up hickish.
Or because of their geographic placement are more relevant. Bands
sure.
in the middle of the country do better in the middle of the country.
Sure.
because
Yeah.
they build that.
But on the second half of your career, if you are, look, if Limp Bizkit does a tour this year, there's going to be some fucking major business done in C's. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're playing an arena in C.
Right.
In New York, they're playing.
Right,
They're playing. They're
3,000
playing
cap,
that.
whatever, yeah.
They're playing that arena in Hershey.
Right.
But in
Sure.
Philly, they might play Electric Factory.
Yeah.
Glens Falls Civic Center. So here's the point, everybody, is that these all mean something, and if you don't know, then they mean nothing, and don't talk about it.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about support slots. And there's one more quick hit after this. These direct support bands are as follows, and this is a new phenomenon: is the weird image coding to show what bands are on what dates. That's really confusing as fuck.
Okay, so
Right, you need like a legend to kind of follow.
And they have it,
yeah.
and it's part of it. It's kind of cutesy and cool, but then it hits a certain point where it's like tough to
Two Knives means this.
listen, as a guy who is, I'm in one of those bands that is like,
ends up being one of the. Oh, you're a one knife band.
is like so right now, Self-Defense was just soft offered a really good tour, and I said to the booking agent, Drug Church has got some shows. He knows that. Can we split it? And when you say that to a booking agent,
their eyes glaze over.
They groan so fucking hard because they act like it's a fucking labor to find another fucking. Basically,
and then me and Pat are like, "Yo, we just finished digging holes for the day." So
yeah, booking agents.
Right now, do you mean split it between the two bands, or like,
no,
hey, we'll only do these dates, and they'll okay.
Like, hey, we only have availability for the last 2 weeks of this month long. Can we get the last 2 weeks? Is that possible? Do you want us that badly? And then. It is very frustrating when you encounter a booking agent who is obstinate because they feel like you are imposing on them in some sort of way, which is a lot of booking agents. Look, it's a booking agent style. There's some that do not like to split tours at all.
Yeah, it's just stylistic and the way they like to work and whatever.
Right, but
we could go real heavy and be negative, and let's pull back and be positive about it.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Right.
Be positive. My favorite blood type.
So, direct support slots. Wicca Phase Springs Eternal.
Okay.
Show Me the Body.
Okay.
Are they main support? Or are they like? Did they get tossed on?
Okay,
No, they're in the.
You want me to
the
go
rotator?
You want me to go in or not?
No,
go
let's
in?
go
We'll go
through
back.
all of them and go
Okay.
back. Ghost Main, Nicole Donganger, Disembodied, Trail of Lies.
Okay.
And so these aren't all direct support. A few of them, Trail of Lies is opening the Boston and New York dates. Show Me the Body is in the second slot on the from California to Atlanta.
Okay.
Second half of the tour.
So I'll ask each one of you, who's the MVP?
Of that?
those?
Yep.
Like who adds the most value to that?
Yeah.
I mean,
In whatever, in however you define that.
if I'm guessing,
In however you define it. It
However
doesn't
you
have to.
define
It doesn't
You
have
can
to be.
define- I'm going to define. I'll define as a personal like what I like. One, Trail Lies. I like that on those shows. Very cool, nice mix, and might bring some different people to it. Two, Disembodied because I do like how much Code Orange big ups Disembodied, and they're only on a couple of the California dates. So
Right. I said Nicole Dollenganger because I think
Value
more.
add?
I think more than any of these, she adds a vibe that only adds. Like I think that these rappers, because that's what Ghostmane is,
And Wicca.
and Wicca Phase. I think kids are going to go. I think kids are going to have a great time. I think this is a smart tour in a lot of respects. But I think Nicole is the impeachable vibe provider, whereas some of this might lose some people. Because here's the deal.
Okay.
I think you show up, you didn't want to see Nicole, you're enjoying Nicole. You know what I mean? I think that you're going to get through that set.
you're not going to be put off by
You're
her
not,
at all,
yeah.
in any way.
You're gonna. It might not be your thing at all. You might not buy the record. You might not even like it. But
won't be offended.
But you're not shitting on it.
And I think if this was I Am King era, you would have still been getting knuckleheads who are like, give me the fucking heavy.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
think so. I think you were getting more basketball jerseys.
That's
stuff.
possible. But my feeling on Nicole is that she is in a different space that is like, for whatever reason, very ameliorating. You know what I mean? Like you put her on a lot of shit. She works on a lot of shit.
I can see that. Yeah. I mean, she's only on a couple of dates
I know,
too.
I know,
like
I know.
near like, I think she's on like the Canadian dates in like Toronto, Chicago. I mean, Detroit, Chicago.
Yeah,
something
middle.
like
You're
that.
right.
Right.
So who's your MVP?
I mean, now I have to change my. I mean, I would think. I don't know enough about the SoundCloud rappers.
Yeah.
My man Conrad from Hawaii can tell me more about this kind of shit. But I would think Wicca Phase is probably the biggest.
Ghostmane has 42 million listens of his.
So I will shut the fuck up and I will go
42 million
on SoundCloud.
YouTube.
On YouTube.
42.
But what does that fucking translate into? Like,
Well, to be honest, here's the quietly kept secret is that there's very few of these dudes that have these 42 million listens that can fill more than like a 400 cap.
right, which is
Yeah.
fucking insane.
Right. Now, but don't
Those
get me
400
wrong.
people listen to it a lot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, filling a 400 cap is fucking sick.
nothing to sneeze at, yeah.
I'm not mad at it, but there is this very strange thing where we should do a whole booking agent. We'll have some booking agents on the show. And
Right,
we'll
but you think
discuss
42 million, you're like, you got to be able to draw like 5,000 people somewhere.
Yeah, right.
And they don't.
it. Typically do not.
So there's as we record this sitting here in Brooklyn. Show me the body? Question mark.
Okay, so I'm going to sound unkind, and it is because I don't know anything about this band except that I don't know anybody who knows what this is really. I know that it gets put on New York shows, and nobody goes for them. And when I hit Jamie, when I saw this shit, because I got a text before I saw the announcement, and it was a booking agent telling me, yo, that Code Orange tour is special. Like those guest spots make that really hot. That is going to work.
Really?
Yeah.
You think?
I mean, that's what.
Do you agree?
That's what.
I mean, he's a pro. He would.
You're gonna be nice. That's okay.
No, I'm not gonna be nice. I'm not. No, I'm gonna shit on some of this shit. But the Show Me the Body is the one that I immediately hit Jamie and said from Code Orange and said, okay, this is hot. This is cool. This is going whatever. But who pressured you into Show Me the Body? And he said, and Jamie.
Are you talking out of pocket? Are you good with this?
Yeah, I mean he'll be angry, but yeah, but
I mean, he usually is angry at you at some points, isn't he?
But Jamie did his Jamie thing, which is he said, you know, nobody puts Jamie in the corner. You know what I mean? Like
I've had
like
the time of
nobody pressured me into it, and I said, and I think Jamie's telling the truth, but I think I wanted them on the tour. Might be I wanted to do a favor for somebody because the only look
like he didn't pick that shit out of thin air. Someone put that in his head.
I'm saying
right?
The only person that's ever heard of Show Me the Body is managers who are currently betting futures like pork bellies on bands that we have no culture.
Somebody told me the other day they think we're trading futures of Day by Day, which is funny.
We kind of are.
We kind of are.
But
we're betting on you guys.
But right now, I'm look.
I did know a couple guys in Pennsylvania who were on the more esoteric side of things who were like, oh, Show Me the Body. But it was like this weird blip almost 2 years ago now.
I mean, look, maybe they're the best band that's ever existed. Here's the deal. I'm being very uncharitable because I've never fucking heard them. All I know is that sometimes when people approach me and they are industry people or they are people who only get their fucking... Okay, a good friend of mine is a guy who books music acts for television, right? And when he hits me and says, what do you know about this? I know it is the lamest fucking thing on the planet, and I don't give a fuck about it until the day I die. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's the space that Show Me the Body currently occupies for me. Oh. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean I'm right, because sometimes these bands that have no sort of grounding that we know do have long roots that we just can't see.
And it's, yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And that's entirely possible. Maybe they're big in the Providence noise scene and I just don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But as a relatively plugged in person, when all I see is you playing second on every New York show, what that speaks to me is that you are some manager's darling, some label's darling, somebody's betting on your future, and they are twisting promoters' arms.
On many levels. Small scale.
Sure.
They need them, because they play some pretty, lack of a better term, credible shows in New York, where I'm like, whoa, they're kind of an odd thumb, but, that's kind of where New York's at right now. There's a lot of weird shows.
I mean, look, again, this is me being a dick because it's entirely possible I know them from other bands. These are dudes I would dap up, but I don't know what the fuck this is.
The only thing I take problem with on that is I believe they're playing over Vane, and like if anything,
here's the deal:
Vane's been grinding, I wouldn't want to be a band who has to play after them.
But that's when you just say good luck. You know what I mean? You just do.
Oh yeah,
like
good luck, and we're gonna fucking choke you, and people aren't gonna. There's gonna be no oxygen.
Yeah,
in
we're gonna
room
show you the
done.
body, motherfucker.
Well, look, this is as Bob says, this is a cheat code. Young people looking to do your thing in a band, move forward, approach every opportunity where you get like sunned in some sort of way as just an opportunity to kill dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're going to sun me? Yeah, okay. All right, Pops.
Spit.
I'm going to kill you in front of a lot of people. But shout out to Show Me the Body. They might be the fucking best band in the world. I'm just
3 weeks from now, Pat's going to be like, yeah, that band is actually...
I bet I listened to them tonight, and I'm like, yeah, it's good. But it's like, look, I can't say I have an axe to grind with Sheer Mag, but like when the only people that tell me about Sheer Mag are publicists it's like, yo, I can't. What do you expect me to do with this?
Right.
I think that Sheer Mag is an interesting. We didn't expect this. I think they come more from that faster hardcore scene that we kind of get shit about. Like, oh, you guys don't know. But
do they?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh,
they
okay.
certainly come from that world, but like, and I think that's where I do see people and their fan base who is, the quote unquote, the non-management, non-booking people saying, oh, we like this.
Yeah.
I just remember I'll say publicist, but I forget what the fuck you call this person, who just told me, I said, oh, what is it? And they said, oh, it's going to be big.
Paid hype man.
It's going to be big. What is going to be big? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? That's not a genre.
Big?
Is that a genre?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, look, that's unfair because that's somebody's fan. I'm letting ruin the music. But, like, it's just...
You do that a lot.
It's just a poisoning thing.
Sure.
When somebody that, like... And really, I only get like this. If some dumb redneck was like, Sheer Mag's awesome, I'd be like, what's up, dumb redneck? Let me give that a listen with you.
Yeah.
If somebody that was just a dumb scumbag was like, I would still...
No, but it's when paid hype man's like,
Yes.
oh, it's going to be big.
Yes, yo, you turn me the fuck off.
Right, no, the term, it's going to be big, you might catch one of us saying that, and you might catch us saying it to each other on some private shit. But that's not an endorsement.
No,
that's like
that's just a fact.
That's just like, oh, yo, that's gonna. I can see that popping, and
Sure.
it's no commentary on the music, but people sometimes try to substitute for that as a comment on content.
Yeah, hey, what kind of music is it? The kind that's going to be
huge.
big. Fuck you. Yeah. What are you saying?
That could be anything.
Yeah,
right.
what are you
All right,
saying?
is it Demi Lovato or is it
Yeah.
fucking Slayer? It's both big.
Have I ever used the term with you guys? This is an old term, suicide prank.
No.
Okay. A suicide prank is a old short term where the prank is worth you punishing yourself.
Oh, sure.
For example, oh, this person is really annoying. Said person comes up, everyone groans. Hey, Jim.
Yeah, come sit
Why
with
don't
us."
you sit down?
Yeah.
You're pranking yourself, but you're sacrificing yourself
Yeah.
to the prank. I feel like we're going to do a suicide prank listening party where we, for all this shit we talk and
Yeah.
all these things, because and like, cards on the table, have any of us really sat with any of the most recent Sheer Mag material?
No, certainly not.
No, I heard some stuff and it was recorded terribly.
Right.
I was like, these songs could be really good, but it sounds like it was recorded on a boombox.
All right, I think we're going to suicide prank ourselves on some stuff.
I may actually like it.
I mean, look, show me the body. We're probably gonna listen to it. I'm gonna be like, eh,
I feel like I listened to them a while ago, and it was like kind of like a Death Grips kind of thing.
Oh, god
Really?
damn,
Huh.
motherfucker.
I listened to
I
it.
thought I could be totally
No, you might
wrong. It
you
was
might be right
a long
too. It's
time
been a
ago.
while, but I listened to it and it was really spastic, all over the place. Not punk music to me, and
Like
I just
Lightning
felt
Bolt
really,
or something, or like
no, I don't. He used the Providence noise thing, so maybe I'm thinking that. But it was kind of adjacent to that, where it was definitely aggressive, not overly heavy, but it just there was components of things I like, but in such an angular way that I didn't feel any attraction to it.
I do like the name.
Hold on, let me just be that guy. I'm gonna make some predictions based on the name, based on the shows that they're playing. I'm gonna say South by Southwest style dudes playing hella while wearing jean jackets with metal bands that were only vaguely think that they listen to on the back of their fucking jean jacket.
And that next time they come through, they act a lot crazier and wackier because management was like, "You guys got to be a little more engaging."
Turn it up, bro.
Right. This is me having no knowledge.
We're gonna do this.
We are just shooting.
We're gonna do the suicide prank. Listen, and we'll do predictions based on it. We'll all be harsh as fuck.
Yo, what if Show Me the Body? What if we're like?
It might be great.
What if we're like,
This is sick.
Yo, let's check this out, and then we watch the video, and it's just like the scariest individuals, and then
It's
I'm
just
like,
it's ire.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, what have I done?
Definitely not.
Okay, so that was a long quick hit, but yeah. That tour, cool.
Look, I actually think that sort of shit is cool. If this works, we're gonna see more of it.
Yeah.
Will this 42 million listening thing work? Every couple of years something pops up that people say is the new punk, like, right? Because like people that the same people that write two-step Tinder articles have to write it basically we forget sometimes that media is nonstop and you have to make money doing it, so if
you gotta write words.
you gotta write words.
Yeah.
So you just write gibberish that you don't mean anything to you, so you say things like X
It's the new punk.
is the new punk,
Yeah.
right? And we've said it about 11 things over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
And none of it ever fucking has any legs.
Like
And-
punk does. Yeah.
And I'm
Sure.
so curious because look, we talk about age sometime, and like when we saw this SoundCloud rapper sort of shit on the horizon, we all looked at it and said, it might be a rough few years for us.
That might be big.
You're right. That might, and
people are predicting that. That's kind of like in the horizon.
oh yeah.
Like, like wait for one to get one real heavy push, and there's going to be a wave of it. It's kind of a wave. It's in the
This might be
amorphous
it.
level right now. Like I think a lot of our audience is probably, even young heads are old enough to remember some of the like that, the Strokes, the White Stripes, etc.
Sure.
Yo, that was a wave. There was a bunch of those bands. The Kills, the Stills, all these things.
Star Spangles, more than
Right.
anybody can remember.
And
Honestly.
So
they're still
many.
huge, though, at this point.
There was a bunch that did
Yeah.
well, but there was only a couple that really ascended, and overall it was a failure. The White Stripes had some lasting impact and kind
Sure.
of, you know.
Look, there's always going to be one that transcends the genre and will stick around in some capacity, right?
But that was kind of like the forecasting, like, oh, this is the next big thing. Guitar music is back. Let's get these Spin magazine placements. Let's do this. Let's see these cover stories.
I mean, this dates us a lot, but there was a time where it was a sincere belief that Long Island was the next Seattle.
yes.
Yeah.
That was a sincere thing that people said out loud. And it wasn't. But two bands from there have had really long careers. So, like,
Not anymore.
well, maybe
Yeah.
not anymore. That's okay.
One is it,
One
yeah.
band,
One is quite truncated.
yeah.
Yes.
So, point is, either we're going to see more of this because people are going to see, because Cone Orange is not dumb. They make decisions, and so far they've been working, but they are pointed decisions. They are planned decisions.
And they've ruminated over this for a minute.
oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so this was not like, fuck it, we'll throw this together last minute. They were kind of working
I
on
don't
this
think I'm
for-
talking out of turn when I say they wanted Ghostman for more of these shows. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
just that he's not that type of
I
performer.
mean, he's got that work schedule and stuff. He probably can't go, you know, like cubicle life.
You know, Tim, who's a ghost man, he digs ditches with me and Pat usually. He said he just can't beat the riggers. One thing I will say, last comment on this, part of me thinks this feels a lot like the Forever album tour.
yeah.
And that,
yeah.
you know, they had
Oddball
kind of a
shit.
mix.
Yeah.
And they're trying to, I think because of their placement and stuff, they aren't, yo, let's take out heavy bands exclusively. Yo, let's just take out weird bands. They're kind of picking and choosing, and bully for them.
And they're a weird
You know?
spot. They're in a weird spot.
I think they're defining some of their own lane.
Yeah, which is cool shit.
Right, but it's the gamble. This is the gamble for people at home that are betting on Code Orange futures. This is
where you get in.
This is the
Yeah.
fucking gamble, because basically I admire Code Orange for so much cutting that lane over the last two records and saying, look, we are a heavy band. That's obvious. Let's do left of center shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? We don't need to take out three hardcore bands, right?
Sure.
But that it ultimately is a fucking gamble, right? Now, it's a gamble that I would take. It's a gamble I think is cool and artistic, but it is a gamble because
Right, and there's more riding on it for them than it would be for one of our whatever. Yeah.
right, exactly. So I think that it's fascinating to me. I think that this will work. I think that this will be a good tour, no doubt.
Yep.
But I think moving forward, we are either going to see people imitate this poorly, or it's entirely possible that this sort of thing that we're talking about, Ghostman, etc., is maybe over that quick. That's possible too.
How different is this tour than the Turnstile headliner that's going on right now? Which is Turnstile, for longevity and people who might be listening to this at a different time. Turnstile, Touche Amore, Culture Abuse,
Razor bumps.
How different is it?
I think it's way different.
I think it's way different. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like that's sort of there's a common thread.
There's a little bit of
that,
I think yeah, like my take is that Code Orange's lane is a lot different than Turnstile's, and Turnstile's still trying, but they're both kind of nudging out different
Oh
ways.
no!
you know, right?
Both are asserting real identity with these tours. There's no doubt. I
Right.
think
I don't know if Turnstile went that far afield as much as Code Orange did.
No.
Code Orange taking out fucking rappers. Turnstile took out like bands that are kind of like in that same relative genre.
Big umbrella.
Hold on,
You know.
but I'm going to say that umbrella is so big that Turnstile could have taken out much more aggressive bands. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
still been under the umbrella. And I
Absolutely.
think what we're going to see is Turnstile. Look, I'm not Turnstile's booking agent. He's in my phone, but
All right.
yeah, he's.
Humble brag.
I'm not their booking agent, but
I can call him right now.
If I were them, I would never go out with a heavy band again.
We asked that in the chat. We said, no, did we? Or
Yes,
did I ask?
yes.
Okay. Will Turnstile ever take out a heavier band than themselves?
And I said that they would be wrong to. I said that would not be the move.
And also, speaking of like going back, did you see they covered Power Trip in Texas?
Loved it.
No.
Fucking
Yes.
loved it.
Really?
Yep.
Loved it. Loved it.
And it's like Cover Your Contemporaries, like a Patrick Kinlan exclusive.
No.
Yeah,
I-
I thought that
just
was
a cool
fucking
nod,
idea,
and I
man.
love that. I love the idea of that.
Yeah,
just,
I was
it's
psyched on that.
I think it's just fun as hell.
I saw it on
So
Twitter.
fun.
When you are a legitimate professional musician, and I don't want to sound like a dick, you have time to learn somebody else's song. Do it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you're
and you're
sitting around
bored
on
as
your ass.
fuck.
Yeah,
And
do
by
it.
the way, we actually got hit with this question. We'll touch this. Friend Kim Possible
Yes, I
asked
just saw
us. Kimberly Yount, I believe, is preferred, but Kimberly Yount
Yes.
said, asked, topic, cover songs. Are there songs that are covered too much? Is that a thing? Bands people should or shouldn't cover? Do you all have a favorite cover you love live or recorded? So this is like 10 questions.
Yeah.
Side note, are covers is prevalent now? I feel like for a while, every band had a cover. My response was that covers have fallen to the wayside, partially because every fucking band is playing now. So unless you're in genre covers are almost played out, because why are you going to cover Judge or Gorilla Biscuits? We all saw them a year ago.
Sure.
Oh, that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Every band.
Right, and like you can go like deep, like weird band, but then it's like, what the fuck is the point? Like if your songs are more popular than the cover, then why bother?
Props to and she retorted with, well, what about out of genre covers? Do you think that's cool if done right? Your band has done it well. Big ups to Wild Honey for covering Kiss Me at Damage City.
That was cool. Yeah.
And Indecision has done some out of genre covers.
No big deal. We did Just Like Heaven by The Cure.
Bob Dylan cover? No.
No, we did Susie and the Banshees cover.
Oh, there you go.
What else have we done?
Susie's in the broader genre, which is okay.
I pointed
yeah.
out in the group chat that I have a hand. You want to talk about a humble brag? Me having somebody's phone number is not a humble brag. A humble brag is that the Sixpence None the Richer.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
That's
yeah.
right,
This is
yeah.
good. Go ahead. You're like, it's like your brother or whatever.
My
Tim is a singer of Sixpence.
no, my sister's longtime boyfriend is the bassist.
Kiss me.
Is that going to be their wedding song? It has to be.
I don't think.
fuck.
You know what?
Are they getting married? Maybe they're not.
Yo, no, that's not the wedding song. It's the shithead cousin or brother or uncle plays it like.
I've never thought about. I always thought people were lying to me because he's a grown man, and in the videos he's like 23. You know what I mean? Like he
Right,
doesn't look
right.
like. So I was like, I think my family is confused. You know what I mean? Lying to me, and then no, they're not. But he's not. He doesn't seem touchy about he doesn't seem like a dude that doesn't want to talk about his one hit wonder or hit or whatever. You know what I mean?
Money's right. Sixpence asks self-defense to go out.
I mean, yeah, I love the dude. I'd hang with the dude.
It's summer festivals and carnivals.
Oh, fuck. Fun fact, those pay outrageous money.
Yes.
I've been involved in a couple, and yes, they do.
Outrageous.
Can you eat funnel cake as a vegan?
Yeah, I think it's just fried dough, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
you're good.
dude.
You're good.
I'm in.
All the fucking
Okay, I was gonna.
The answer's yes. The
You
answer's
said yes with self-defense, so the answer is like yes with drug church.
So the drug church is
Yeah.
that and put the funnel cake on the rider. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
deep fried Oreo.
So covers. Personal favorites. I will shout. We get told we talk about your band too much, but that's fine. We're gonna talk about it.
What
See your
fucking
whatever.
asshole says
yeah,
that?
a lot.
I mean, it was me in a side text.
You guys covered Anne Jury.
Yeah.
That turned me on to Colin Newman
Yep.
solo material, and thank you for that.
You're welcome. We covered that. We covered Out on an Island and did such a fucking crazy. We slowed Out on an Island down to like one of our songs. So it's this Cocksparrer song that is then like, I mean, it's not the fastest Cocksparrer song, but it's like we made it something else.
Yeah.
Right, like not even recognizable.
You know what? Benny recalls like an oi-ish skinhead dude in the front row looking very unhappy that we were doing. So one person
Like,
picked
at
it up.
least recognize the words.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what else? Drug Church has covered The Lemonheads. And
Did you?
Yeah.
What song?
It's the one that's re-recorded. It's Bang Clang. It's whatever.
Okay.
It's got two different names because it appears on two records. At any rate,
Deep cuts.
that shit is fun. With Drug Church, I like a bunch of. I'll do a set of covers. You know, what I mean? Like fuck it. But Self Defense, we're cooking one up for this next tour that I think is going to be dynamic and fun.
Interesting.
Cool.
I'm always a sucker for like a filler, minor threat cover.
Oh yeah.
An Inside Out cover.
See,
When well done.
Absentee debate.
Oh,
by-
that could win me over almost anybody.
I'm gonna send you a video. Your boy singing one.
No shit.
I did it twice.
No shit.
I did it with the guy from Unbroken.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah, it was cool.
I did sang Fed Up with Ruination at ABC, not like intentionally, but they gave me the mic and sang that was cool at ABC No Rio, funny. And I did Project X Straight Edge Revenge with Mouthpiece at CB's, and I think I did one of their songs at their Philly reunion in 2000. Still.
Oh, we also played
with a ripped Uniform Choice shirt. I looked cool. It was cool. It was in good shape.
We played Glue for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
SSD glue?
Yeah.
Which
is the cover we did.
Is it? It wasn't Dark Blue. Maybe it was Puerto Rican Flowers or Clock Cleaner.
Clock Cleaner did.
Clock Cleaner does nothing for like Negative Approach cover or Ready to Fight.
Ready
for
to Fight.
25 minutes, 30 minutes.
Does it sound like it, or is it like totally different?
I think it's all their style, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think they would do it, speed it up, and then slow it down, and
Interesting.
I think you can find the recordings of it out there.
right.
Like, it's a good bum out track. Like the what is it? The laugh track on. Is that the Faith Void split? No, where it's just the ha 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 ha.
Yeah, things that nobody really wants to listen to.
Which the shout out to Greg Brown, warehouse manager at Revelation, you could tell when he was having a bad mood because he just put that on, or if there was someone objectionable in his space, that came on very quickly.
Yeah, it's like that in Flipper for when you want to just drive people out to space. Okay, where are we off to now?
With covers, so good talk.
Not enough anymore, I don't think.
I see,
because
I
the reunion
hated
thing. I think
I hated them when they were like omnipresent. You know
every
what I mean?
band played every.
Yeah, I hated them.
I literally went to a show. We played a show that the entire Inside Out 7-inch was covered during that show.
Really?
Every band. Walking Down did one. This band Ascension did one. Trip Face. It was like, oh my God, there's 4 fucking Inside Out covers at the same time in 1997.
Yo, that demonstrates the thing that we talked about on this podcast, and that record was fucking really, really, really the thing for 10 years.
The number one selling Revelation record.
There you go.
There it is.
Right, that's amazing.
And the only my favorite live cover is that No Justice used to cover Minor Threat, and it was always like they would always end their set with it, and it was always great.
Right.
So that was
Cool.
fun. All right, one last quick hit, and I was gonna save this for another time, but I think we'll bring it up twice. Emailer wrote in. Luke, what's up, Luke?
Luke from Warzone wrote it.
Local phenomena. There have been 1 or 2 passing mentions of Clifton Park luminaries. Section 8. And it's made me more curious of the cast, more superficial take on them as a band. I have no take on them. I'm completely unfamiliar. But when brought up, our friend of the podcast said one of the best shows he ever saw ever.
Was that Dusty Cloud?
That was Dusty.
That's absurd.
I love it.
That hurts my heart.
And when I asked another upstate friend, he said, I have way too much to say about it. So
This is a band that I do have to give some credit for.
please talk about them like no one's ever heard of them before, because
I think that's
no one
almost
has.
fair. So,
Like Vagany-ish? Skinny singer?
yeah, I mean, bigger than me, but yeah.
But like relatively thin guys compared to most Troy Core singers?
Yes.
Clifton Park, not Troy, though. Right?
Yeah, true. Okay. But they were the band that straddled every line in Albany because they would play the Scumbag shows. They would occasionally get on the more straightforward or straight-laced shows. But they are kind of like Albany's drug hardcore metal. Does that make sense? Like
Absolutely.
When people love Alice in Chains a lot but want to play hardcore, those dudes, I do not know them. It's possible that it was one of those bands where at least 2 members were local guys who had never played or heard hardcore music.
Like Guitar Center musicians?
Yeah.
Excellent.
But, or like just dudes you grew up with, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But, you know, it was this type of thing where like they'd be on the cover of the local alternative weekly, and the singer would be wearing goggles on his head. You know what I mean? Like, it's that sort of scene where it got like.
We've seen some pictures of other upstate New York singers doing similarly embarrassing things in photos.
Patrick, aren't you?
No.
Does everybody remember? Does everybody know the word Twizzy? Does that word?
Of course.
Okay, so
Twizzy.
It's hella twisted. It's just that's what section.
Twisted?
Yeah,
Like
not like the rapper, but like
Juggalo?
What's the time frame for it?
fuck.
90s or 2000s?
Late 90s, yeah.
Okay.
Late 90s into 2000s. Yeah, definitely late 90s.
Okay.
Maybe, actually, you know what? That could have been a mid 90s thing.
Wow. They just continued.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were probably done by fucking early 2000s.
So we'll put the Section 8 songs that are on Spotify up on a playlist.
Yeah.
They can't be on Spotify. Are they on Spotify?
They probably are.
Yeah, I bet they are. But do you know who was going to reissue it?
No.
You can guess.
Dusty Clouden.
No.
No.
One of the youngs.
EVR.
No. A3.
A389.
Yes.
Oh, and it fits that absolutely fits the line.
Because that is so much what he was about. Like, it is scum fucking dirt.
And Don being from Canada, Albany's not that far.
I mean,
Is this it? Is this it?
I mean, there's probably a million sections.
There's a bunch of sections.
yeah, I don't remember that album.
Oh, and also correction. There is the Ego Strike Voice of Strength 12 inches up. We get loose on this. We don't really edit ourselves and we don't correct ourselves. Please hit us with corrections, but I catch like 20 every time. The Ego Strike record is up there. It's under 2 separate Ego Strikes. Fix that. All right, so we are gonna kind of move to our actual topic, and we'll get back to Section 8 at a later time. We've been teasing this label episode for a long time. We're going to talk about it a little bit because our friend Patrick announced, he didn't announce, the label announced that Self Defense Family has signed with Run for Cover Records.
Hold on, let me be mad sour. Ooh, we're talking about my bands too much.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, I'll text Bob on the side about that shit.
But so you've signed to Run for Cover. You've released records with Run for Cover before.
Yes.
You had for a while been releasing records with Deathwish.
Yes, all of our LPs were with Deathwish for a number of years. Although when I say all of our LPs, I think we only had
Self-Defense.
We had 3. We had 3 during that time.
So yeah, you have one record. As end of a year, you
Yep.
have an LP on Revelation, and then on Deathwish, you have one end of a year record, and then two full lengths as Self-Defense.
Correct.
And overall, you released 11 releases with Deathwish, be it splits, 7 inches, and 2 full lengths.
Okay.
Damn.
As Self-Defense.
I believe it.
And end of year, so 11 releases.
Okay, I believe it.
Long-term relationship.
Long-term relationship. Never had a contract. Long-term relationship.
Good old handshake.
How cool is that, actually, not to have a contract?
I love it. I mean,
And you have one now.
yes.
Which is cool, too.
I've signed 3 in my life.
You signed one with Revelation.
4 in my life. Yeah, okay.
You were released from it.
That's true.
Cut him loose.
So, I think Deathwish would cop to this. It was a safety move. We were not a proven commodity of any type. We had just been released from Revelation.
Oh, you want to talk about that for a second?
Sure.
This is a fun one.
Were you actually cut from Revelation?
Yeah.
We kind of spun it. We tried not to make that a thing, but they were caught.
Right.
Wow.
So
It was 2008. 2008?
I mean, there's a label to put out like 32
2009.
frames and shit. Like,
2009.
I know. Trust me.
Like,
I know.
there's some stuff out there that,
That we're significantly better than I
Yeah,
know.
100%.
So,
Oh, yeah.
So, but here's the funny thing. Bob's might give the background on this. When we were released from Revelation, and this is advice if I have to give it to anybody in life, just keep moving like that didn't happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I believe that we talked on that. Yes.
so I was hitting up labels being like, hey, you want to do a 7-inch? And they'd be like, will it be all right with Revelation? And I'd be like, definitely.
Yeah, totally cool.
Just talk to Bob.
Yeah, we negotiated it, man. No big deal.
Definitely. So the result was that we didn't lose a step.
There was no slowdown.
There was no
Right.
cred. There was no,
Well, it was just like Revelation record came out, didn't do great. We were dropped. And then...
I mean, no one knows your contract. It could have been
Well,
one
and they
record.
didn't know. And so the deal was it didn't do great. It was a CD-only release on Rev.
right. And
Which was a little bit of
the vinyl was licensed elsewhere, yeah.
And
really?
who licensed it? It was Mike,
No, it was Justin at Slave Union.
Slave Union, who God
Just with
bless.
2 U's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, God bless, did a good job with it. Misspelled Revelation on the record, but that's not
Only partly his
entirely-
fault.
Yeah, not totally his fault.
Was like the Albany school system's fault? Or
Yeah,
was-
I think it might have been.
so
I think
it was-
Andrew seemed
no,
particularly embarrassed.
It was Eric Busta,
Eric.
our drummer, who is a rev guy.
Yeah.
He's the only guy in the band that was a rev guy. Like,
Right.
he's a very talented drummer.
Unbelievable. We've talked about before.
Shout out to Eric. But he was like, like he's of that era in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And his favorite band is Underdog. You know what I mean?
Wow,
Like,
okay.
So like he
Almost me too.
fucking misspelled Revelation.
There was an O instead of an A.
Something. There was something. I think it was actually Revelations.
No, there was an. It was
a misspelling? At any rate.
Revelations.
At any rate-
people call it
maybe.
Generations Record. Hey, you going to Generations?
I think I do that actually.
But this is pluralization.
Yeah.
Kind of
So
thing.
it was
It's Lamorne.
whatever. It was
Lamorne's
embarrassing,
being
but
real.
the fact is, we got
It was quiet. We kept it quiet
Yes.
because I was on my way out anyways, and they kind of knew it too. I was finishing up school, whatever, and they were just like, "Yeah, it's not going to make sense for us to financially do another end of year record, so we're gonna just." I broke the news, and it was kind of whatever, and we had talked about how our mutual friend Trey liked end of year.
Yeah.
was a fan.
Trey of Deathwish fan.
Trey, yeah, and talked to him. I don't know how much we've talked about this, but I was very honest with him about how the record did and how you guys were as a band, which was disorganized at the time.
Yeah.
But immensely talented. And you actually, in that time period, post that record, Post Sincerely, which is the second end of year full length, but the first one that really matters.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
You guys actually had some of your best material and started putting out some really good songs on singles and splits.
Yeah. And more than that, like
At the time, best material of that era.
right, sure. And but more than that, like again, just keep moving.
Yes.
And people notice that. I noticed that in my current career, writing comic books. Is like, when I do good work, nobody gives a fuck. When I line up two things in a row, fucking publishers are like, "What's up?"
Yeah, keep your visibility up.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Doesn't
cheat code,
matter.
cheat code and light. If you just keep moving, be busy.
It's equivalent of having a wedding ring.
Yeah, it's just
You can become that much
Yes.
more attractive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So so basically, and I mean, I was very honest with Trey in a couple different ways. I'm like, look, the numbers aren't necessarily there. This is a band though that's really good, and who knows where it goes
Yep.
and how it takes you. And he took, take a chance on me, and he went for it.
And that's a lot of chances. 11 chances.
2009,
So,
2009, 2010, first record comes out.
and it took a long time because Death Wish, for good reason. So I have a disease where I think what I do is special and perfect, and everybody should kiss my ass. But I also so fully understand
Yes,
that
you
the
do.
rest of the world doesn't give a fuck, and that it sells poorly. So like
You have a diehard fandom, but then it's and that's where we're hoping for this record to bounce, which I think it will actually. But so, anyways,
numbers so far are good. So at any rate, it spends a lot of time on Death Wish, cause them infinite amount of headaches. You know what I mean? Because we're not difficult in the way that some bands are difficult. There's bands that straight up have tried to ruin people's
ruin good labels.
Yeah, that'll just go to labels and be like, I feel a grievance. Fuck you. I'm gonna make
I'm
your life
assailed
hard.
by your label that has not assailed anyone, nor have you assailed us. But I'm assailed.
Yeah, I am going to attack you, and I'm going to make things hard for you. And this happens. You know what I mean? This happens with some regularity because, look, a lot of bands are 23-year-old people that barely know math, and it's tough because you have an intense human being across the table from you that might be immensely talented artist or musician, whatever, but is a fucking loon who can't count past what's on their fingers. You know what I mean? So it happens often that band label relationships can go poorly, and labels know full well that the public is always going to take the band side. You know what I mean? So you
can't win.
You can't win. So Death Wish took a lot of chances on us, lost a lot of money.
What's the definition of insanity?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know what
Doing
though?
the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result?
Here's the thing. I understand why self-defense would get through people's. It's good, right?
It's very good. Yeah.
So like if
Except
you,
that whale sound song you lost, man.
if you
But-
believe that something good can win, you kind of want to back it. You know what I mean?
Right, you want to be part of that story.
Right,
Of
exactly.
course, and it's, yeah.
So I shout out to all the labels, even labels that are currently angry at me. fucking shout out to all the labels.
You got label beef right now?
Nah, but people are always low key angry at me, but
Gentle. He's a frustrating individual.
yeah, right. So shout out to all the labels. I honestly think labels are still an important part of look, for me, a guy that's always saying I don't care about culture, that part I find interesting and I like, and
that's gonna be the crux of this. We're using this as a nice entryway to it. We've got a lot for Tom because he's been involved with some interesting labels. Some totally defunct, some kind of defunct. I don't know.
They're probably all defunct. I think we put them all in the grave.
So anyways, because there were people like, oh, not a lot, but some people like, oh, why not Death Wish?
Oh, a lot.
We were getting that a lot.
I got 35 questions yesterday.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and the reason is not anything fucking salacious, or it was basically our last record we did for them, Heaven is Earth. It was just too quiet, and that's what it boils down to. Was leading up to that record,
Like literally too quiet?
No.
Like just didn't get enough traction.
Like
didn't multiple angles, right? Didn't sell that great.
Oh, okay.
right. And look, it's important that I underline how two-way that street is.
Absolutely.
Like today, I was told by the publicist, no NPR feature for this new record. The guy at NPR hates you, and
Wow.
it's
like specific hates you, Patrick.
yeah. So it's like I get it. You know what I mean? Like it's not easy to sell any band. People are looking for reasons to not like it, and I also provide more reasons. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A crazy one. Let me pick your brain on this. Today I heard I'm getting a lot of pushback from some of the places I'd like to place this. Some people are saying the band is too masculine. Do you think that's true?
Self-defense?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. No, I mean, I don't think too, but okay, go ahead and I'll relate it. And I'll say
I
why.
just like you know how I can get like jumpy and triggered and weird about shit? Like I wasn't angry at the publicist who I'm convinced
who conveyed it.
Yeah, because I have no doubt that's a true thing that she heard multiple times.
Told to her.
You know what I mean? Right. But I get angry because firstly, masculine, feminine, these things are almost without meaning in 2018. You know what I mean? Like that's
they are if you reject them as constructs, and not a lot of people reject them as constructs.
But I feel like the people that may be saying that it's too masculine may also be the people that would tell you that they reject those constructs.
The people who say that loudly, and I don't think they do. I think the people who actually are actively trying to reject those in their lives are maybe the ones who are a bit more quiet.
That's possible.
To me, I don't.
That's possible.
I think those are really weird constructs, and whatever.
Well,
we can get real deep on that.
But it just puts me in a weird situation because.
Where are you trying to get these things that you're too masculine?
Well, there's a lot of outlets that
Glamour, Vogue,
Mad
Cosmo.
There's a lot of outlets that want to cover women in bands.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like right now, that is a thing that is of interest to a lot of people, and they want to cover those things, and those would be nice outlets to be in. But if you come off. Again, like I find this very frustrating, and I have to shout out to Talia, the publicist, who this is not on you. This is on at all, and it's really to a degree not even on the people that said it. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of just a general thing that I found so perplexing because there's always a woman playing in our band. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mary has played 100 shows with us. Kai's played many, many shows. Both women have recorded with us many times.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when I say with us, they're full fucking members.
They're full timers. Yeah.
So like
one of the few you do have. One of the few like constants.
They're part of the deep five.
Yeah.
So the way that self-defense works is it's just fucking a dozen people, and we just whoever is at a point in their life that they can play, we all get together and we play. Mm-hmm. So like. That often includes at least one woman.
More Caroline, by the way. I know she hasn't been around.
I know she got a baby, but the that includes women,
right?
And it always kind of has for the last like 8 years.
Time, yep.
And hundreds of shows. You know what I mean? 8 years, 100 shows. There's been a woman next to me on stage,
right?
And I'm not trying to cape up for Mary. Could whoop all these people's asses. I don't need to cape up for her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But I gotta say, I do fucking weirdly resent the idea that, like, this made-up fucking construct is now being spun on the actual fucking biological and identifying woman
Right.
in
so
the
if
band.
it's not a front person,
Yeah.
it doesn't count?
That's what I'm saying.
No,
Like,
it's tough, dude. It's super tough,
weird.
and I think that I put part of it is that you aren't totally a personality driven band, but your personality is up front, yours.
right. I get that.
And
And you
because
get
you're
that-
allergic to shirts?
I
I
actually
think that has something to do with it?
I heard that today.
It's a photographic thing. It's an optics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then-
but let me ask you. That's an interesting question to me. When I see I agree. John Brandon said it in one of his little tweets. You're not.
He
Check
said
it out.
Check it out.
He said, "Yo, check it out. You're not allowed. If you're built, don't take your shirt off. You got to be looking like a real bug motherfucker to perform shirtless." I am that bug motherfucker.
Praying mantis looking
Yeah.
motherfucker.
So, but I think it's the combination of it's your personality up front.
Yep.
Maybe some of those visuals. You're not intimidating in that way, but it
No.
is a shirtless male, and I don't know, that might present things to different people different ways. And I think your lyrics are deeply personal. And I wonder about that. I wonder about the fact that you've done a lot of records with female faces on the cover.
Right.
But what does that say, and what does that
Right.
signal with then a male voice on it? You know what I mean? And I'd say, like, think about your duets record with two voices, no figure present on the cover. And that's not, not saying one thing or the other, because that kind of predates you doing these
Yeah.
visuals. And this is us just kind of talking.
No. I hadn't talked to you guys about it before we started, but I'm glad it came up because I was weirdly.
We're working through some shit.
I was just kind of like, I accept the reality.
Yes.
Of the statement. I do. You know what I mean? But I was just kind of irritated.
Well, so let me...
I think it might be because you're shirtless with long pants on. And I think that's a weird optic.
Okay, so that's.
I'm just joking.
No,
But,
no. Actually, I thought about that.
Dudes that wear
If I was wearing jean shorts that were cut so my nuts were hanging out, like maybe we wouldn't get that.
Right. Is it like when you see somebody wearing like flip flops and jeans? I think that's a weird optic. Like, I think it's like, yo, if it's so hot, you got to take your shirt off, but you got fucking pants on.
Well, what am I going to do? Take my fucking pants off?
No, but maybe wear shorts.
Listen, shorts are not.
I don't think I've ever seen you wear shorts outside
No.
of, like, our house.
Tom
No.
Ford is very against shorts.
Yeah, well, I'll wear them. I'll only wear them when I can get the army surplus store ones that are like Rollins style, where like my nuts might fall off out the bottom.
Got
but
it.
At any rate,
That won't help your cause at all if you're
you
testing.
know what?
No.
I've got another problem. Let me just go down my list of problems.
I got a lot of problem with you people.
Has anybody that said that we are too fucking masculine? Have they personally seen me?
Well, you're associating...
I weigh 130
I know,
fucking pounds.
I know, but so let's talk about it. You're
left leg.
associating masculinity strictly with physical intimidation and like physical like presence as being an intimidating
I don't
thing.
even got a beard though.
No, but again, you're associating these really trope things, and maybe it's more with the sound of your voice. Maybe it's some of these other things that people might take in.
Your lyrics get sexual?
wouldn't.
Not way back occasionally.
Sure, but not more recently.
Not enough. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there might be a lot of intangibles. And what I was going to relate to this personally was that my friend Brett and I ran a vintage and like handmade goods store in Asbury Park for a year or so. And the one thing that we were saying is that, hey, we want this to be a really inclusive and warm place. We're two dudes.
Yep.
But we knew that our audience for this kind of store was absolutely, we wanted 75 to 80% female audience because they were buying more. We saw when we had vintage, we worked with different women who were bringing a lot of vintage stuff in, and they were really cool curation of it. But we got the feedback, oh, the store feels like dudes.
Yeah.
And to us, we were actively pushing against that, and we're still getting that feedback. And I wasn't mad about it, but it was something we had to think about and take in and go, so what can we do? What does that mean? Is there things that we should do? And sometimes, honestly, it was that because it was the two of us, and it wasn't some like huge money-making operation. We weren't making a ton of money doing it. It was fine. We did fine for the time we did it. But there was just our presence in the store,
right,
too. And what does that mean? And it's just something to think about. Like when you're told that, like maybe there's things you can adjust, but maybe it's just something to think about more. Like, okay, what are we doing? And that's the record cover. I was just thinking like, oh, maybe that presents in a weird way. When people are thinking about Self-Defense Family as an entity, what those things identify.
I got to pivot to more men on the cover?
No, I don't think you have to do anything. It's just consider your station. and consider what that means. And if you want placement, I mean, if you want to say anything of this that hit me as problematic, and Tom, I want to hear from you. Isn't it? It's kind of weird, and almost feels like, oh, media outlets want to cover bands with women in them. How does that, like, yeah, that's cool. I want that too. I want that strictly for the idea of inclusivity and the idea that, like, hey, this is an underrepresented coverage point for the past 50 years.
Sure.
But there's a certain element that also makes me think that's a little patronizing.
Yeah, it's a little condescending and patronizing, and it's sort of like...
It depends. We've seen... The problem is that while we can totally say that might be true... Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
There was a time that it was really bad, where there was an effort to cover women in bands, but it was always through this weird male
like calendar
gaze.
girl. Oh,
Yeah,
no, of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
Like, how many metal magazines, like,
Right.
check out who's the 10 hottest broads
Right.
in fucking metal right now. It's like the worst fucking
Right.
nonsense.
You remember that period?
Of course. I was in a band with people that had to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think that we're out of that totally. It's just that it's
Right.
maybe in our tiny little neck of the woods, it's a little bit different. Maybe.
Well, it's the problem is that
I don't say broads in real life. That was just me being like the douchey Guy Fieri kind of guy.
You had
I don't
the voice
actually
on.
say that. Yeah, all right. I was just playing a character. That was not representative of
That was
Thomas
not
Sheehan or his family or anything like that. Thank you.
his family.
I got 4 women in my family, and that's it. So,
The problem, if there is one, is there. Okay, so the obviously sleazy metal magazine coverage of women in music is just very obvious, particularly looking back on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
At the time, it was tacky, and we all knew that.
yeah,
but-
we saw through it. At
right,
the time.
but,
Yeah.
but looking back on it, it's really fucking something.
Yeah.
But it does occasionally, yes, still feel a bit male gazy through, but the male gaze, not the traditional male gaze of like boobs.
lecherous, yeah.
Not like that, but still a zoo vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still an observational zoo vibe sometimes.
Now, are these publications or whatever? Are these places that other run for cover bands can access? And it's just your band that's kind of being put out there, or is like Turnover too masculine for what I mean, or whatever?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't ask that question.
Like, are you kind of so divergent from the typical run for cover band that like you're looking for other press that was never kind of part of that world anyway?
That's possible. I didn't ask. That's an interesting question because maybe I'm taking umbrage over here, where it's just like nobody.
Run for cover doesn't exist to these fucking
right.
people, and that's it.
That's
and
possible.
that's cool.
That's possible. I just look. As I said last podcast, I really hate the ally that jumps out in front of the person that is actually
being aggrieved.
Right.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, of
so
course.
so I don't want to do that for Mary, and I don't want to do that for Kai. Like Anika plays with us now. I don't want to do that for anybody. But it's just perplexing to me that like there hasn't been a photo, like there hasn't been a promo photo. I think the promo photo currently has more women in it than it does Patrick Kinlan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, what are we talking about?
Right.
Like,
Do you have to be a front person to qualify? In these weird kind of.
And I guess I do agree that my voice is out front, and I do think
Your personality too.
It's right, and like things like the Twitter and all that.
I
But
was
like,
just gonna say that you were on the Twitter as a
like-
personal one almost.
I know, but straight up, like, look, this is me just taking. This is
Shots in the dark.
We just took a weird turn, so it's all right.
you know when it's just like the world's not changing for you, but you just got a minute, you got a microphone, so you're just gonna fucking bitch for a second. This is me.
This your Adam Sandler moment?
I just think that it's weird that anybody would follow a Twitter that wasn't like mine. I think that is. I think anybody following a traditional band Twitter is strange, and I think that it's weird that mine is considered the weird one.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's more of like an individual tweeting and not just kind of like, check us out when we come to your town, 2018.
I don't understand who's compelled by that content.
Well,
Just so you know that, so you get the content.
it's perfunctory.
So you know.
It's just hey, here's our tour dates.
right, but like,
And I mean,
Which
I
is
can
a place
see
for it.
I can see a place for it. Just like yes, we post when we have new tour dates, or we post our flyers for here's our show tomorrow. Here's our show
Right, here's
tomorrow.
our shirt that we're putting out.
what do those people do when they have a thought about the subway?
They go to their personal one.
I don't think they have them.
They might.
Or they don't give a shit about sharing it.
Well, that's sick. That person I'm not fucking with.
The one who doesn't want to share their subway thoughts?
What are you going to do with that? What do you go home? Did you run home, tell your girlfriend, hey, here's what the 85 random thoughts that I wanted to share, but I didn't want to talk to a stranger.
I mean, I don't share it. I take the subway every goddamn day. I go, yo, that fucking sucks. But I don't go like, you know what's terrible? People who lean on the pole on the subway. People who bring bikes during the rush hour.
What did you do pre-cell phone, pre-Twitter, pre-social
I would turn
media?
to a stranger and be like, this is crazy.
This is ridiculous.
You know?
Yeah.
So
This is your equivalent of you turn to a stranger, but it's 10,000 of them, whatever.
when I worked with good friends at a screen printing shop when I was 18, because we would do the same fucking thing every day in terms of what we did at work, printing, blah, 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 blah. And it's really, you just stand around with each other and someone's catching shirts and someone's printing shirts and it's a lot of standing and looking at each other.
Yeah.
We would do, so what did you do yesterday? And we would get real micro. It'd be like, well, so I left here at 4. And I think it's almost embedded weird habits to me because I actually find like, oh, so I was on the bus. The bus was pretty empty. Took the bus back home. I listened to that Warzone, whatever, the last Warzone record on tape on the way back. That's a cool record. Yeah, and we were just like total stream, like, oh, we'll branch off, talk about that for a few minutes. Oh, so then I got home, made pasta. While I was making pasta, I was watching TV downstairs with Jimmy and Timmy, and it was cool. But then I went up and ate by myself. And
Mom called.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Like literally
You're live
going
tweeting
through
your life.
the minutia, because then. So Dave, tell me about your day, and he would do the same. And the only time we wouldn't do it is when I would go and just sleep over his house and do the same thing, and we knew what each other did.
Right.
And maybe we would recount it to the other dude who
And
was
see,
there.
like, maybe had a different experience.
But that's, and I don't know, and I think you use social media, not that level of minutia, but you go into a lot of like your trivial buzz.
it's all trivial.
But it's funny.
And I guess
I think it's clever.
you've said it's sparing Amelia. It's sparing
It
your partner.
is. Otherwise, I'd go home and I'd just be like,
Here's my day.
I had to write down all these thoughts. It was, please stand there while I list
Yeah,
them
no,
to you.
Amanda. So Amanda, this is for you because you got mad at me. She said, my partner who listened to some episode where I said she doesn't listen, and she's like, you threw me under the bus. No, if you listen to this, tell me if you want me to start using Twitter like this so I can get all my bullshit out, so I don't talk to you about stupid stuff.
I think partners like it. I think partners
are happy to get it out.
Right, because
Get it out.
oh, cool, I was at school for 8 hours today. And
Don't
I'm coming
punish
home listening
me.
to you talk about fucking peanut butter.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, yeah, I'm aggrieved. Let me put it like that. I'm just aggrieved,
right.
but not with Run for Cover.
No, so Run for Cover, lovely.
I'm hot on this. Right now the record, it sold really hot for 2 days that it's been out.
Like Canadian Platinum.
Like yes,
You know
Canadian
what I'm saying?
Platinum.
Like if you know.
Quiet as it's kept, maybe more than some bands that we think are fake big.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Definitely more.
Definitely
I mean, that's
more.
fucking cool, man.
But here's the deal with self-defense. We always come out hot because we have people that buy
love your
everything
stuff.
from us.
Right.
But then it falls off a cliff, and then it
Doesn't that happen to everybody?
Yeah, but
I mean, honestly.
if you fall off a cliff at 400 ish on a small label, totally cool. You're gonna limp to the finish line. You know what I mean?
Right, but on a Run for Cover where they're
Run for
expecting
Cover,
a certain number.
To be honest, I don't know what they're expecting, but like if you I'm hoping for good things, not for anybody that's curious. Self-defense did not leave Death Wish because of like low sales necessarily, anything like that. It was not necessarily Death Wish's fault that our last record didn't get the visibility that I would have liked. As I pointed out, it's entirely possible that it's A, us, B, the climate, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like there's so many intangibles that you can't fucking...
Right, you never know. You never know.
You never fucking know.
Came out the same week as some other record. And
Exactly.
And
Lost to time,
happened.
whatever. So, but I had frustrations about things like publicists, etc.
Right.
That I just knew that for our next record, this one that is coming, that just came out or is in
Coming out,
pre-order,
right? Yeah.
I just knew that I wanted more control of the situation, so we financed it ourselves. Flew Taylor out to record it,
Right.
and then just sat on it for a long time and said, "What do we want to do with it?" Well, we have options. You know what I mean? And Death Wish was in the mix, like
Sure.
a label that certainly like. Look, those dudes have been fucking so good to us, and
Oh,
they
of
still
course.
not just that, they also run a good label. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a perfect. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, and speaking fully practically, if your band is not going to get any bigger, which is always a possibility, there is a common wisdom that you should stay where people know where to find you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Right.
Part of the reason I think people asked, like, why not Death Wish?
Yeah.
There was an association there. A funny comment. I think Indecision or Most Precious Blood would have fit really nicely on Death Wish.
Oh, I
in the
wish.
right? You know what I mean?
Fuck, I wish. Yeah. If it existed during
Yeah.
the Indecision days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that would have been perfect because it was like bigger than what we were on, but not like. So back then, like we had kind of other options
Yeah.
that we were like too punk for.
Oh, we're
We
going to
turned
talk
them
about
down.
that. We're talking
Dumb.
about that. Yeah.
You know, but I think like.
Because they were weird. They wouldn't. We're going to deep dive there.
Yeah, no,
But like
whatever.
Death Wish, I think about it, I'm like, man.
It's a perfect. It would
They
be
would've
the
been really
ideal.
good.
I don't know if they put us out, but like that would have been a perfect combination.
Back in the
Like,
day, I'm sure that, like, you
Yeah.
know, if the times overlapped. But,
Yeah.
So I'll just close up
So
my
you like
shit.
shopped it around?
Yeah.
To like set, not chopped it around,
So
but like.
no, but kind of. We went and retained a lawyer to go do that for us. Really, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay, so is that weird to kind of like not have that personal like? Did Death Wish get like right of first refusal, for lack of a better term?
No, actually, and I think Trey is a little salty about that. But they
Why? You know, I mean, it's just because you guys were looking for something different.
well.
But were you?
No, I mean, yeah,
Well,
right. That's,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Yeah.
Yes and no. What we really wanted was a greater level of control over, and not that Death Wish is like
They're not micromanaging.
not at
Yeah.
all,
not at all.
not at all,
enablers, to be honest.
not at all. But
Right. I would think they'd be less up in your business than a run.
no,
for
they
cover.
look. They gave us so much fucking slack to hang ourselves with. You know what I mean? Like truly. But so Death Wish works with a publicist that is a totally capable woman, a totally good publicist.
Sure.
That I felt by the time that Heaven is Earth was coming out was not the best fit for.
Did she just like ran out of shit to say about you guys?
No, it's not that. It's just that like publicists, they don't want to admit this, but they have greater contacts in some worlds than others. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, and that's kind of natural.
And you guys were always a weird fit for Death Wish,
sure.
so you're kind of saying you might have been a weird fit for this.
For sure.
Right. Like she could get you into Decibel, but no one's giving a fuck. About
Right.
you. Yeah,
And but to be honest, it's also, this is all on me because I want to be in Decibel. Decibel can suck my dick for not putting us in there. You know what I mean? Fuck
sure.
you. I like that sort of shit. I sent our record to Profound Lore. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, you were out- yeah, yeah.
That's a world that I think bands live longer in. And that's my band is long lived as it is. I
Right,
want to live longer than most of the people listening to this. So like, metal is a place you can do that. Weirdo music is a place you can do that. So those are things that I always wanted to consider. You know what I mean?
Nothing wrong with
Be in
that,
those
yeah.
places. But at any rate, I don't want to appear as though I'm throwing either Death Wish or their publicist, very capable person, under the bus. I just am about the fit and all that.
Yeah.
I just wanted more control. And then when it came time to shop around, I wanted to see what our options were. I don't know if that sounds sleazy, but I want to see what our options were
Yeah, I mean, there's
before
nothing wrong with
committing.
that.
Before,
I mean, you like kind of put your own money into this thing, so
right.
you wanna,
Well,
you know.
that's
Well,
kind
it's
of the
free
thing.
agency, too. It's
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
But
And you got the money,
but it's
you
weird.
Scrooge McDucked it. And
It's weird when fucking somebody's been really good to you. Do you know what I mean? Which Death
Right.
Wish has and still are. They've got copies of our fucking record, an exclusive of our record up right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are.
on deathwish.com.
They have always been good to.
Deathwishinc.com.
Always been good to.
Deathwishinc.com.
Good to me personally. You know.
Yeah, of course.
So-
You put up your bullshit.
So I don't want to appear that I'm throwing anybody in the bus, but I did want free agency. I did want more control. Doesn't mean I wouldn't have re-signed with the fucking Cavs, but I just wanted
No,
free agency.
and I mean,
You want to
know,
bring your stuff to South Beach.
well,
I get it. Feel it. Yeah.
which was actually an homage to when LeBron said that. That was an homage to Kobe. Shout out Kobe.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because Kobe, when
Why would
he's
you
like,
shout out Kobe?
because he was a really good player, top 5 NBA player. We'll do it on our
five.
sports Patreon. Top
Top
5
five,
NBA
yeah, for sure.
Yep. Anyways,
Dead or
so-
alive?
Yeah, we'll
The
get
rap-
there.
It's a rap thing. It's
Okay.
fine, sorry.
So, free agency. I was going to say that a lot of times people will look at bands and say the relationship with a label can be like a marriage, and I don't think that's appropriate in most cases. But it's a long-term relationship. As noted, you didn't have a contract with Death Wish. You continued to work with them on this really just beautiful level, and you'd have a contract with Run for Cover, but that's not like they're not killing you about it, right? They're going to let you do weird shit, right?
Yeah, actually, our contract is
3 records, $100,000.
no.
That's where we're going. Yeah.
The matter of and for people at home that think that we talk about my bands too much, this is going to be a rough episode. But I do think that this stuff is kind of interesting.
It's interesting to think about for your band. I know there's smaller.
Right.
I know there's dudes who are in young bands who want to hear this stuff so they can think about the way their life's charting.
Yeah, exactly. So just superimpose your youth crew act onto self-defense's fortunes here. But the what was the question?
He talked himself up. Well, here's the thing.
You're not. Well, so it was to talk about comparing it to a relationship. These relationships with a label are like you were in a non-exclusive relationship with Death Wish in a way that you could do splits here, there, and others, but you'd kind of give them the heads up, like, yo, I'm gonna go bang this label over here. Are you cool? And they'd be like, cool. And sometimes actually, I want you over tonight for this one. And you're like, oh, cool, I'll do that.
And I feel like most bands don't do that. Like, so you're saying like, young bands like Candy. Candy's not going to put an LP out with one label and then have split out. You know what I mean? Not necessarily. Maybe they will.
Maybe. It depends on how prolific the band is.
Right, and not to the like downright insane level that you guys had. That you.
That's more about their prolific nature, and we're doing a lot of stuff. Fucked Up's a good example where they did a bunch.
Right.
Was it on different? Yeah.
Different labels.
And Fucked Up, like I. On an episode that I think is maybe it's an evergreen or maybe it's a Patreon that we've done lately. I kind of shitted on them, but I don't. This is not me shitting on someone to say that your fortunes were once better and are now
different.
Yeah, because basically there's peaks and trials and everybody's.
We talk about life cycle of a full-time band,
right?
A career band.
But Fucked Up has insulated itself against being forgotten. That might be a blip. It might be, for a lot of people, it might be a blip. But they will always have this coverage of having touched so many different spots. That band makes a lot of sense to me in that respect.
And I've been told by people whose taste I trust very much that the new LP is awesome. So excited to hear it. But a lot of people aren't. So whatever. Fuck you. You guys are now entering a different thing, and what we're getting into in the gist of this is labels and what they do better and what they do different and what a label can do for bands. Because right now, as kind of Patrick alluded to, labels are part of the fabric of this world. Yeah. And have been. And I think some people are looking around and going, well, but why? I can throw this up on Bandcamp.
Yeah, and you can.
You can. And you can also do your own merch store.
Yeah.
And you can also do your own designs. And you can also you book your own shows. But you don't always do all those things.
No, I mean, look, talk to Trash Talk, right? Trash Talk did a lot of these things. Anything that they didn't do in-house, they shopped and found that person to do it for them, and they brought that person in that capacity and paid them, right?
Most times. Yeah, absolutely. Totally. No, what they did is...
Glad you beat me to the most times. Go on.
Yeah. Most times. But they did well.
Point is that no matter what anybody can say about Trash Talk, there was a drive there that I have not seen in all but maybe 3 bands in my life.
Right.
And if you think that you are there, I assure you you're not. But shoot your shot and see how it works.
I talked to a legendary Brooklyn band who was talking about
Biohazard.
You talked to Indecision?
Yeah.
You did talk. Oh God.
So, anyways,
I was saying that facetiously.
So, about merchandise and this and that, and they were like, "Oh yeah," and we kind of want to do it ourselves. I'm like, "Yeah, that's the best thing you can do. Absolutely, you maximize everything."
Sure.
And it was almost the look of shock that I would say that because I was there, kind of pitching like, "Oh, you should let me do this. We should work together." Blah blah blah. Whatever. Wow. But when they said that, I was honest about it because, you're right. There's no, you should. And you know what? That's actually really hard. You want to be the one who sets up your web store, whatever capacity that is. You want to deal with Shopify or limited run, or do you want to do big cartel? Right. Yeah. Do you want to post the images? Do you want to set this? Do you want to deal with the postage? Do you want to pack the things? And I said this to my partner, and it resonates well with Patrick. Who doesn't like getting mail? But people like opening boxes a hell of a lot more than they like packing them.
I hate it more than anything in life.
Right. So now there's some of us who don't mind it. I'll pack a fucking box all day, send shit out, whatever. But fuck, receiving mail is fun.
Yeah.
Sending it less fun. Yeah. And when you're sending a lot of it, whew, shit sucks.
Yeah, and that is your life. And there's some people that have an entrepreneurial spirit and do well in this. I hate it. Let me be that dude. I'm an artist, bro. You know what I mean? That's me. I'm not fucking...
No, and to me, like, I have friends, I've done this. I actually do kind of on the side and have for a while sell vintage clothing online and this and that. And, I stay in my lane. I know sports and old T-shirts. But boy, that's a lot of work.
Fuck.
I get the shirt for nothing, but then I have to clean it up, take the pictures, throw some measurements out there, post it, this whole thing. And, that's a lot of time.
I know a guy who's probably a listener, makes a good living doing that, but his work day is consumed with idiotic questions from people around the world that are asking semi-scammy questions.
Yeah, when people see my new setup, they're going to like it because I cut out some bullshit. You know what sucks is measuring single pieces of shirts. Like, because this is a t-shirt from 1985.
Yeah, what's the
it says
length?
medium, but yeah. So I got some new shit up.
Okay, good.
But anyways, you can do almost everything that we're going to talk about yourself. But there's a reason you don't want to, and you might not know how. Trash Talk's a cool example because they did work with labels, and they did what many smart people do, which is when you encounter someone who's good at something, you ask them questions and you learn from them. And you don't have to take everything they've told you as Bible, but you take what you like and you figure out how to do it yourself. And maybe you do it your own way, but you take that. And that's what they certainly did. I mean, they certainly did that with Death Wish.
Yeah.
And they went and did their own thing.
Yeah.
Tom, you've been on how many labels?
Not as many as you, but a bunch.
Yeah.
Like, we put out a ton of 7-inches
You
and
did.
stuff. Yeah.
A thing that gets glossed over, but you guys were kind of a weird workhorse in your own way.
Can you go through, like, not in a dick way, go through your... So, first record is...
Like the first ever?
Yeah.
We put a 7-inch out on RPP Records in Belgium.
Okay.
Wow.
Next up.
Split with Shutdown?
Probably.
Back to basics, because we talk about that and make jokes.
That's true.
But that record is everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, those were our two biggest songs.
Yeah, that's distro stuff.
The funny, haha joke, I'm on the, so it's it's a split 7-inch. I'm in the picture for Shutdown. If you see a guy in a Judge shirt, that's me singing along to a Judge cover in, fucking Wilkes-Barre or fucking Scranton.
That's what we call camaraderie.
There you go. And then I was on Positive Face Records.
Whoa.
We put out a 7-inch called Samaritan. We did a split 7-inch on some label called City Lights.
Wow. So this is the small label stuff, not counting the Straighter Than You crew demo.
Yeah, that was
but Discogs page, thank you. But
me and Justin really, really, really liked Youth Crew stuff.
So what was the experience in your memory of that, working with really small labels? Like, what were your expectations at that point?
Zero.
You didn't get any recording money?
No.
Right, clearly.
No, I mean, we just kind of, a lot of that stuff was all based on the same, we were on Too Damn Hype too.
That's cool.
Oh shit, nice.
But it was basically standard small label deal where you come with a recording, you get a percentage of the pressing.
And I mean, it wasn't even,
if you're lucky,
it wasn't even that clarified.
Okay,
it was just sort of like,
we want to put out a 7-inch. Oh, cool. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, we'll do that. Sounds great. Let's talk to each other. And then it's like, oh, do we get copies? I'll send you 20.
Yeah, I mean, it was never, it wasn't 10% of every press. It was just kind of like, oh, hey, I'd see Rick every once in a while. And he'd be like, put it out again. Here's, with a different color copy. You know what I mean? It was like,
we put it out again.
Yeah. That thing.
I bet there's 5,000 copies of that thing.
Easily.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
They were everywhere for so long.
Yeah.
He did good distro on it.
Okay.
Yeah, and he did help. I mean.
So you arrive on Exit. Is that correct?
Correct.
For people that don't know, Exit was a side label of Wreckage, or was Wreckage a side label of Exit?
No, it was like a subsidiary, for lack of a term, of Wreckage. Yeah.
Okay, so, and weirdly, if I'm correct, highlighting Long Island, New York, and Jersey bands? Or was that not,
it was the more hardcore.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was necessarily to that Discord level. It's we're only putting out these bands, but it was sort of like.
But it seemed to be, right?
I mean,
think
they
it was-
weren't going out and like doing some like deep dive and like, let's put out a band from fucking Ohio. Like they were just kind of like, oh, I saw this band at CB's.
Here's what we
see.
see. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And to go back, hardcore was more localized then. Music was more localized.
I mean,
then.
Yeah,
it's
there's
hard
no
to explain
band
that.
camp to kind of be like, let me just check out, see what I want to put
There
out
was
next.
no internet. I mean,
Yeah.
there was internet, but the
Al
raw-
Gore didn't make it yet.
Yeah.
And then,
How because Exit to me and Wreckage to me as a kid was super cool. Was that your memory of it, or is your memory that you ended up there because you were too snobby to take the Victory contract?
Well, no, they were the first ones to bite.
Okay.
Exit was like Artie Philly, who ended up being an indecision, but was in Millhouse first. Millhouse is on Wreckage. Wreckage had put out like Madball and Mind Over Matter and Yuppicide and all this kind of, Die 116, fucking Gin Mill, like random shit.
Yep.
And then he kind of had his own kind of, his own label. And we were one of probably the first bands he signed. And it was just kind of like, again, we didn't have any expectations. For that record, we just had a bunch of, like, these 7-inches and shit. Unorthodox is pretty much compilation with a couple songs we wrote after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was kind of like, hey, can we turn this up a little bit to make it sound a little bit different than that demo that we sold 17 different times? You know, like...
Thing I slammed Crime Watch for a week ago. Go on.
Yeah.
But they weren't on fucking Bandcamp.
Okay,
you know
go
what
on.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had no... Yeah, so, like, we put out the first record, and then people kind of took kind of notice. And, like, bigger labels kind of came at us.
And you were too pumped.
And so
Not me. I was ready to sell the fuck
So
out.
you got, and we alluded to this. You got approached by Victory
And Rev.
and Rev. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, like, Victory in 1997.
Yeah, would have been the move.
It really would have been the move.
I wonder what would have happened had you got signed to Rev proper. At that time, it would have been an interesting fit. You maybe are on some different tours. Maybe
Yeah.
not bigger tours, but different.
Different ones, yeah. I mean, like that dude Jason Upright was the guy that was our contact.
Who did a great job at Rev.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Did a really
Great
good job.
dude. Like,
he's the
sweetheart of a
dude who
guy,
signed like In My Eyes and a lot of that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, it would have been weird because we would have been like the metal band on Revelation.
I
at the
mean,
time.
better you than Himsa. You know,
But Himsa was a couple years later. But it was just,
Yeah.
you know what? They would have been in the mix with In My Eyes, Where Fear and Weapons Meet, Better Than 1,000. Maybe you would have overlapped with Will
Haven? Yeah.
Yep.
I do like that Will Haven record.
Kill Holiday record comes out on Rev. It was a weird mixed time.
Yeah.
Judas Factor.
Judas
turns out-
Factor, yeah.
right. That's
a
interesting.
couple years later, yeah.
That was 98.
That's 98.
90,
Yeah. So you're like a 96, 97 era.
Yeah.
So, was your experience on labels good, I guess?
You know, I didn't really have any kind of idea, so it's like, I mean, I was never like put off by it, but it was never like, hey, someone wants to put money into our shit and press it. I don't really give a fuck. I was not expecting, like, dudes that have followed me up in certain bands continuously bring up fucking like
money.
You owe this guy, eat this, all this like. I that's what I wasn't there. Wasn't there for that. I didn't give a fuck.
Right.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like, someone put out a record, I could walk in, like my family could walk into a record store and be like, do you happen to have Indecision? And they'd be like, we do, it's right over here.
so-
That's all I
That's
wanted.
fucking awesome.
I didn't give a fuck. I don't care about, like, I'm not in a hardcore band and I wasn't into hardcore to ever kind of, I just want to break even.
Sure.
Let's talk about money.
You know what I mean? Like, I really didn't care. Like, especially with Exit. Exit was disappointing because, like, we'd go on tour and, like, we'd go into, like, a hardcore record store and the record wouldn't be there.
So let's talk
That's
about
a
that.
fucking bummer.
So let's pull back because we're going on these personal things.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
No.
Like,
It's
kinda
great.
tangential.
No. It's great because we want to use it as a way to extract these nuggets of things
Sure.
of like experience. With Exit in that time period, what were you were looking to see the record in record stores?
Yeah, and like not in like I'm not expecting to go into Tower Records and have us be next to
Like on the end cap.
Yeah, but I mean it would be cool. Like we'd go into like Ear Ecstasy in Louisville, or whatever, and it'd be like, oh, sick.
Yeah.
They have it's not like
It's not here.
Like us and Silent Majority are walking in there and be like, let's see if they have it.
Yeah.
and it's not like they sold out. It's like either they never had it or they had 2 copies and then they're gone.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like
And they didn't bring more in.
yeah. So I'm like, oh, cool. We're out here fucking killing ourselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that record's nowhere to be found. You know what I mean?
And you've alluded to the fact that you were on some of these tours and that you had hot spots, but
Sure.
then there'd be other spots
Like
that were
completely
crickets.
dead.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, of
and then
course,
you
yeah.
make that correlation at the time that it was like, well, of course no one's at our show.
No one
Nobody
has to
knows our
fucking-
record exists. It's not
Right.
out there. And the internet wasn't a place where you were finding music at that time.
No. I mean, you literally go through like Very Distro magazine.
Right.
You
Oh,
can
yeah.
stick stuff out,
It
write
was
out,
fantastic.
all this sort of stuff. So,
I wish I could explain the joy of looking through that and reading description. I would read that thing like a fucking magazine.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Cover to cover.
Even the Victory one.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember as a kid, like, I didn't have a credit card, so, like, my mom had to call Victory Records to get me the, like, it's not okay not to drink sweatshirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Fuck.
yeah, you know, just kind of...
And it was this weird joy because it was pre being able to scroll through all this information. And I think that so many people look at like the internet age and get this information at you. Yo, I was using that as a way to find out about stuff. These catalogs that you could get.
And it was
like,
way more tangible. And it was
Yeah.
sort of like, you learn differently when
I
it's
was
like...
rereading it. I was reading
Oh,
over
yeah.
and over and over and over.
It was
Oh
a
my
zine
God.
almost. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You're kind of like, you know, Spaz 25 to Life split. I'm not going to read about this. Or like, whatever the
Right.
fuck. You know, I'd be like, I'm going to check this out. Like fucking Jihad from Detroit. I was like, I'm going to get this a shot.
Sure.
And you know what? That should be the band that everybody jocks from.
Detroit.
Like the 90s metalcore.
Not cold.
Jihad?
Yeah, I never
Love
lived
it.
up to the name to me because that's a hard name.
That's a hard name. They got some hard songs.
I don't know that I've listened to it in the post 2000s.
No, probably. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone has.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just,
correct.
yeah.
Okay, so then when Most Precious Blood is the thing.
Yes.
Am I wrong, or did you come into that demo knowing that there was going to be some excitement around you guys doing
I
that?
think I still have that demo. Somewhere.
Yeah.
Good demo.
You know, it's funny. A lot of
Good
people
demo.
like the demo more than anything else.
Yeah, they're
'cause it
not
was more
they're
straight
not right,
hardcore.
but it's hard. It's a good demo.
Yeah. Did we expect anything? I had expected nothing, dude.
Really?
No?
Are you serious?
I thought there was an excitement around that time.
Yeah, I totally was. There
Yeah.
was.
No, I really like
People who liked Indecision were pumped for that because it was your return.
I guess.
and it was better. It was actually better.
Yeah. And because you were a big fan.
I think that the demo plus Nothing in Vain is exceptionally good hardcore. I think it's
Thank you.
really, really, really good hardcore. And yeah, I was a super fan, and still am. You know, I mean, I might
appreciate that.
listen to that on my commute tomorrow. And
You're gonna hurt somebody.
And you guys knew each other because you did a music video for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
but after the demo, like
Yeah, it's still early.
on the Trustkill record. That's true.
Yeah.
But so the demo comes out, and you're not expecting much.
No, it was just kind of like, hey, we'll play some shows here and there. Like the shows, like right off the bat, were like,
they're hot.
yeah, like our second show, or our first show was at like Lemoore with like All Out War in Candiria. That was literally our first show, and like the demo was out for a while, so people knew the demo songs. We had to play Indecision songs. We didn't have enough.
Yeah.
And it was like popping off like big already.
Right.
Our second show was CB's with pretty much the Chromax.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it was kind of like, oh, okay. Then like the third show, we like drove to Atlanta for a one-off,
It's a charmed life.
and it was fucking wild. So it was like, this might not be so bad.
So
Yeah.
so then
Yes,
that
Ring, ring.
ring
sure.
that that serpent is on the other end of the line.
Hello, my name's Josh.
What are you, fucking Rob Fusco?
Hello, I'm Josh Trustkill.
Yeah.
No, well let's
love Josh.
Let's address
Yeah.
Josh Trustkill real quick.
Yeah.
A guy that is controversial.
Sure. Yes, Rob Fish.
Ran a very successful hardcore label that transitioned into like more of like a
Metal.
something metal.
Yeah, Southern
I'll try-
Fried.
Southern Pride.
Southern Fried, not
Southern
fried.
Fried.
No.
Let's say
I'll say a lot of things about Trustkill. I'll say it was not Southern Pride.
yeah. Let's
Maybe
say
South Jersey Pride, but barely.
let's say lifestyle metal. Is that fair?
Lifestyle metal. Like
Oh,
the
at a point
condom?
They sure, yeah,
No, like
they went through a lot of them. I bet, but
like it wasn't metal, but it was like metal for kids
Yeah.
that are into it.
yeah.
I think they like metal.
You know what I mean? Right. So
Sure.
whatever. But so for people that like romanticize the Trustkill era, which is really kind of crazy to see.
I mean,
now.
the Trustkill Ferret, like, kind of like, that's
That
the
aesthetic,
revelation
yeah.
for the 2000s.
Right.
It's like, oh, man.
Right.
Hey.
I mean, he's not wrong. There were some stinkers on the front.
Oh, so
no,
Revelation.
yes.
No.
There was some garbage.
No. If you're going to
Yeah.
compare it to Revelation, and nobody talks about Revelation like, oh, Revelation from 1991 to 2015. It's like, no, Revelation's first 20 releases.
Or the best, some of the best
Some-
horror records
So
ever.
that's what people. And I think,
Yeah.
my opinion is the metalcore world, whatever. Sorry, you know,
Right.
there's a lot of you who go on and on about it. You have Most Precious Blood is the exception to the rule. You have a record that a couple of these records, including Poison Well, Opposite December, that I don't like, but that I'd be mean or rude to dismiss as unimportant. They're certainly important.
Just not in your. I mean, and that's
Not at all something
Yeah,
I like.
sure.
But that I think there was also a difference in what was going on, and I think what the labels were doing was different, what the bands were doing was different. So I guess you could call it a revelation for the 90s, for the 2000s.
to that crowd is what
To
I'm
that crowd.
saying.
But I think
That's what
really,
mean, like-
I think Bridge 9 probably is the one you hit to make a more comparison because of American Nightmare.
Yeah,
and
but
their-
not now. Right now.
But that's what I'm. No, that's what I mean.
I know,
Like they're
I know.
looking
But is
back
there
on
a
it, like we
Trustkill-
looked back on.
Right,
the,
is there a
like,
Trustkill, like, because they obviously Trustkill starts, and to give the background on this is a dude from Monmouth County, New Jersey, central-ish New Jersey.
Did shows in his basement.
House.
Did a
Of all-
zine.
like I think Earth Crisis playing dude's house, doing
Yeah,
dude's
like-
zine.
yeah.
Did a comp that was a tribute to Embrace.
Yeah, that was literally his first record.
First record,
Yeah,
and then does his own band 7-inch as his second record, which
Campfire,
is normal, right? Like the cool, like
Yeah,
doing.
started off.
Just had bad taste in music, and then that didn't change. But no, I'm getting mean. But pulling back ends up really defining a genre that is particularly hot right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Really defining.
Sure.
And what's going on right now is rewriting a lot of the way that period is talked about and rewriting in this way how it was defined, because like as someone who was there and young, I didn't define that as something a part of my world. Most Precious Blood crossed both worlds. Like
Sure.
you guys would play in that world, but also played more hardcore shows. And
Yeah, I mean, like
you
we
know,
were buddies with like Down in Flames.
You were,
You know what I mean? Like,
band.
one of the dude, I forget the guy's name.
Pete is a super fan.
Yeah, we used to like trade records and shit. Like we were, like, you know what I mean?
You were
Like,
real hardcore kids.
Yeah.
And that was, I think you guys felt, even though you'd tour with Throwdown and stuff, you guys looked at your band a little differently than some of them. But I mean, that's
Oh,
not
yeah,
even really
yeah,
what
I
we're
mean,
talking
but
about.
we were like the hardcore band on that label,
Right.
for lack of a
No,
better
I
term.
don't think those
Yeah.
dudes would be like, I just wanted to see they'd be like, what's up with our royalties? What's up? You know what I
but-
mean?
I was
And
never
that's-
expecting
but-
anything, so I'm not.
But I think that was after a time. Like I don't.
So you're thinking those dudes were and then transitioned.
Yeah, I think. A
And
lot
I
of
think
people,
the label transitioned. too.
Exactly. So I was going to say, look, I don't know Josh Trustkill and I don't know the guys in Throwdown. We're just using
Nope.
hypotheticals
Sure.
right now. You start as one thing and eventually you find yourself in a different place. And that's normal for labels. I mean, I think Matador was putting out Unsane records to start. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
like you find yourself in a different place. Not for nothing. You also typically, if something is a mammoth hit, by nature, plants grow towards sunlight. You find yourself going in
and
that direction.
I think what is it? Trustkill by like 2004 is doing some really weird shit.
Probably. I mean, going for it and not, you know.
And I'm not even
hitting.
being a dick. Just saying
Yeah.
like they found themselves in a different place than they were when they started putting out the stuff that like really resonates with people. And also, I'm not going to fight and be like, oh, that's not hard. Yo, the definition of what's hardcore changes and evolves with time. And you can be Grandpa Simpson on the fucking couch and walk out the door. Or you can go, all right, well, I'm not into that stuff, but like I get it. And like, yo, that Orange County hardcore scene of what was going on in the late 90s was a thing. And those
Gigantic,
people,
yeah.
and they were adjacent to a lot of things that I would certainly clearly go, yeah. And they were doing the same things. It was purely sound. And those intangible things, what they eventually grew into, which was a more like industry type. And I was going to say industrial, but that's a sound. But like a more industrial aesthetic of like, we have managers, we have booking agents, we play these, we have these things. Like that stuff now, hardcore is very accepting of that.
Yeah.
And that
True.
before those two things, these aesthetic intangibles were really different, and you could point at it and go, okay, so they sound different and all this stuff goes on too. And now, it through no fault of metalcore or that more music industry quote unquote thing, hardcore's migrated towards that. So if it's just the sound, then yeah, that stuff's clearly hardcore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's no debate that Trustkill and Ferret were the pivot towards an acceptability of mini major mentality. You know what I mean? Like of pursuing the Sony like the Sony distribution. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Pursue
Right, and there was a time where that was frowned on.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
of course. I mean, we could go to that too. I
Right,
could talk
like-
about that specifically about Revelation.
Well, that's the
What's
thing.
that?
Oh, so just as an aside, so we did that split on shows.
Crisis.
Indecision did.
Yeah.
with Shai Hulud on Crisis, which was like, I guess,
Rev's.
the exit of Rev. Right?
Yeah, it was just a little subsidiary. Yeah.
Was it Rob Moran's at one point?
That's what I thought.
So I believe it started as Walters, actually. Walters
Interesting.
Rifles.
Okay.
And he did stuff like Onion, but we should find out.
Interesting.
And then I
Okay.
believe Rob
That's
Moran was
interesting.
running.
Right, and it kind of like went down. Okay. So, we put together our side of the split. We submitted to Revelation. It was like the first time we were on, like, it was like a real label involved. So, so all this stuff you're doing, we're going to have to get it checked. Like, I can't just release this because we have red distribution. We're going to be fucking on Sony, blah, blah, blah. So we had a Fugazi cover. We did merchandise. And we had one of the songs end with a sample of Bob Dylan, Times Are Changing.
Okay.
Which we did that with the Susie cover and all that sort of stuff. They reach out to Ian. Hey, can you mind if this band covers the song? They're a hardcore band, Revelation, blah, blah, blah. He was like, nope. Major label, man. Like, there's major label connections. Like, which to the point, like, we couldn't even play, like, Gilman.
Oh, right.
Right.
Fuck.
So wait,
Either
Ian
band.
said that, right?
Ian was like, yeah, man, sorry. Like,
Which is an interesting thing,
Right.
Because there's really there were kind of loose connections because Rev over the years later kind of rejected some of those like big distribution deal things for similar qualms, but there were at that time these weird connections.
right. So like, it's like, all right, so you won't let this hardcore band use your song because they had like major label distribution. Then I'm watching fucking Entourage, and their Minor Threat is literally being played over Vincent Chase coming out of rehab, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's some weird disconnection.
Not for nothing, I would have lent my music to Entourage, but
I mean, it's cool. I watch. I mean, I obviously know about it, but then like, so we also had to submit to Bob Dylan.
and he was fine.
And he was cool with it.
Bob Dylan had to read the lyrics before he'd approve anything. He wrote back how much he loved the lyrics. We were more than welcome to use it. It was X amount of dollars. And Revelation was like, yeah, we're not paying that. But I mean, I have a fucking cool story that Bob Dylan wrote something that I read something that I wrote and was like, this is cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, fuck yeah. I mean, it would have cost 10 grand, whatever the fuck. So it ended up being, we had to cut all that stuff. And the only cover on there is an SSD
Are
cover.
those out there somewhere? The covers?
Somewhere, yeah, I would imagine. Okay. Yeah. Like we have like the full, like a CDR of like the actual thing that we submitted.
Right.
Should we put that out on Axe to Grind Records?
We could if we could find it. Justin's got it probably in a fucking storage space somewhere
Find
because
it.
he's the pack rat.
Maybe that'll be the Patreon subscriber present number 3.
I also have 200 copies of the first I Hate You record original pressing.
Do you? What?
Matt
On Prime Directive Records.
Matt Rosenberg, his roommate put them out, and he helped do that.
At that time.
And
amazing.
he was the person that had to mail it out and kept mailing them out. And the whatever it was,
Prime Directive?
UPS or whatever, would say, "Hey, this is a sidewalk. There's no because you've been to Philadelphia, everybody. It's just a toilet where some doors go directly from somebody's living room
Into
onto
like the middle of the
street.
street. It's crazy. Yeah.
And
I've seen Rocky.
And the I Hate You guys were living in one of those situations, or whoever was getting the records. So UPS kept saying, are you sure you want us to leave the records on the street? They'd call up Matt, and Matt would be like, fuck, let me try to get a hold of this guy. Can't get a hold of him. No, I guess fucking bring him back. So that happened 3 times. And they're eating shipping the whole time. And
Every time, over and over.
Yeah. So
they
they're
start sending less and less records.
Yes. So he's just got a bunch of records.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's
we'll
put
make
them
it
out.
work.
Let's put them out.
All right, we got it.
So anyway,
Yes.
Sign up for the Patreon. You might get one next month.
yeah, exactly. Along with the fabled Indecision cover record.
Sure.
That's later. That's a good idea.
That is a good idea. We
I
could
don't know
do
if
that.
that- it
Axe to
exists
Grind doesn't
somewhere.
need any permissions. We do what we like.
That's
Right.
it.
So
Fuck you, Ian McCutcheon.
point is, you end up on Trustkill. Trustkill
Yes.
is a pivot towards a more major label mentality. It's funny.
Not at the
early.
time,
No,
though.
not at the
Like, I
time.
mean, this is 2000, like early 2001.
Did you have a contract with them? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
We had a contract with Exit.
But there you go.
Yeah.
But like Trustkill's not a small thing. Opposite December is out.
By then, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was like a big hardcore record. It wasn't. It didn't get to the level it got with like, Sony fucking whining and dining Josh and Carl Ferret and all this sort of stuff.
I don't know. I think that might be their biggest record.
you know
What?
what? I don't know, but
It's opposite of December.
They actually have a bigger record, but it was more of like a cred thing that they put out.
Oh, yep.
Bullet for My Valentine.
yeah, that
Like
weird
sold it.
license period where they would take things from overseas and be like,
Yeah,
Well,
they
we'll
were
take
on like
things
a
to make it look. It was a
street cred thing, and like they were ended up on Jive, or they were signed from Jive from the get. But they're like, put this out on this label first. He went gold.
Like the Bronx.
He's got a fucking $500,000, 500,000 copy fucking, plaque. At the mansion.
The Bronx were always on some other label, and then fucking Ferret, whatever.
White Drugs, whatever the fuck.
But that was a fake label too. But So, at any rate, that falls apart somehow. It got too big to fail, right? Was basically the model.
Yeah, I mean...
What, Trustkill? What are you talking about?
Trustkill.
I mean...
I don't know that. I honestly don't know that whole kind of
Let's
transition.
kind of pull back. What did Trustkill do for Most Precious Blood?
I mean, it got the records out there.
Yep.
All the tours were good. We go, there's always places that you're going to go over, like, a dud.
Sure.
You know what I mean? While Indecision, maybe 75% of the places were duds. This got it down to like 30%.
Yeah.
We did well everywhere. We got on good tours.
Did you feel like being on Trustkill helped you guys with tours?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it necessarily, it wasn't like, there's stories of, Josh putting, $10,000 into a band to get them on a, it wasn't anything like that. But it was sort of like, hey, man, our record's out. We, sold a decent amount. The amount that MPB sold then... If a band sold that now,
oh my god,
we would literally be one of the bigger bands. These bands that are kind of
you'd be on the top of the charts.
No, and
in punk and hardcore, absolutely.
We almost should try to figure out a scale. So again, we're rambling here, but this is good. Yeah. When you know about the just general this is how many CDs we need to make because this is the bare minimum that an initial order will be.
Right.
It's tens of thousands.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Trustkill was good because, they'd hire, a promotions company, and, they'd help get you on radio. So, I can tell...
And you knew there was going to be posters and the whole thing.
Yeah. And, it would be, I don't know if it's still now, but, they'd hire, I don't know if it was called, McGathy or Concrete, whatever the fuck it was, would be we're going to get, so, the first week, we'd be in Billboard and be this is, the number 4 independent, whatever the fuck. Or, it'd be here's the most played metal, on the metal stations. And it would be Rob Zombie, Most Precious. I mean, it was literally a week.
Yeah.
It had no staying power, but it's
it doesn't matter.
Hey, for this week, we got played more than Korn.
Yes.
Next week, we were probably 300. I mean, it didn't matter.
Right.
But you had that one thing that you could kind of go back to and be and
yeah.
But to us, we were a punk band, a hardcore band. It wasn't we got to get these numbers up so we can get the fucking offer in on this big tour. It was we toured with our friends and our contemporaries. So we went out with HopeCon. We went out with fucking... Throwdown. We went out with the Promise. It wasn't
But I got to point out that at the time, those were big fucking shows.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not downplaying that, but it wasn't we toured with, Sick of It All. Sick of It All took us out because they liked us personally.
Right.
It wasn't so we put in for this and we got picked. No, we got to fucking do a U.S. tour with Blood for Blood and Sick of It All.
Well, and that's another thing I think on a larger level that's neat to talk about is that I think we see a lot of bands who on their own sweat equity get a lot. I think Indecision is certainly one of them.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's handed to us for sure.
No, and I mean, I think there's bands that whether people like them or not, Code Orange, a lot of their success has been on their own sweat equity. They've put a lot of work in.
Yeah.
And now they've had some good labels behind them. Death Wish, I think Roadrunner's done a fine job. But a lot of that's their own sweat equity. Mm-hmm. With Trustkill, you were feeling, though, that you were getting opportunities that are maybe if we weren't on Trustkill, we wouldn't have gotten this.
You know what? It's hard to really kind of parse that out.
At this time, yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I don't think it was this band's on this label. But it was just the record was out there. More
and
people
the visibility
bought it.
was higher. So yeah.
So it's kind of we'd go out with a band like HopeCon on EVR or fucking Andrew WK took a liking to us and took us out. You know what I mean? Random shit.
Did
you
get Did Trustkill give you tour support?
In terms of CDs and stuff, yeah,
they gave you that in turn, with product or no?
Gave, we owed it,
okay. So that's not tour support. No, tour support is something that gets talked about and maybe in this weird fabled way.
Fabled way now, totally fabled.
It doesn't exist anymore, right?
No, I don't think it's existed for 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe longer. Tour support can be something that's written into a contract. Quite often it's recoupable.
Well, that's what I mean when I did the question marks.
Well, and that's the thing is that there's also this fallacy as someone who's on the other side where I was, I think a strong point with me while I did label stuff was my transparency because I got to hear the stories of horror stories both at the label I worked at as well as others where they were very upset. We were getting these CDs not knowing we ran out of CDs. Overnight us 100 CDs to Chicago. Okay, cool. That's another $175
to overnight them, and
overnight
it's $6. Right,
and so then your whole, because I would tell bands, I'm like, look, you know, like I'm going to give you this much of a credit line, but then you're going to have to pay me cash, no money down, so we can make this stuff work. And there were some times where they'd be a little mad, but then they started getting royalty checks. And some of them might have been friends with other bands who were on other labels that were a lot more lenient about that. Like, hey, you're getting a royalty check from Rev? What the fuck? I've never gotten a royalty check from insert label name here. Because they paid their bills during their band time. And so they didn't get like, oh, what do you think? And when they inquired, we're like, oh, what did you thought I just sent you those 72 shirts for free and overnighted you all that stuff for free on my dime? Nuh-uh, buddy. I kept all those records, and you know, here's you actually still owe me money. I'm trying to be cool about it, but you know, and so transparency is important, or at least knowing and talking about that and what that means. And maybe you got some dude who is just being that benefactor, that benevolent.
Yeah, they exist,
but it's few and far between. And it's probably on smaller labels.
Sure,
bigger label. They keeping the receipts, homie.
Yeah.
True. I also think that for anybody listening, like Tom is very magnanimous about Josh Trustkill, a guy that some people really have a.
Oh, they want to kill him.
They want to kill him.
There's a lot of axes to grind with Josh Trustkill from a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, he's always, you know, like people have beef with him business wise. I had no expectations, so I didn't really give a fuck. If I was expecting money, I'd probably be like mean about it or be angry. I've used his, you know, I've slept at his house many a night. I
also just think that now with Josh, people might not buy this because he did well for himself, and people see that and they get angry. But I think it's worth noting that a lot of labels grow faster than they can reasonably keep up with the responsibilities.
Oh, and I mean, I've heard stories about even big labels like EVR having moments of growth that were like, oh my, what? We need how many copies of that record?
Right.
Oh my
Coheed
God!
Did what?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Of course.
Stuff, you know.
And Josh never had a Coheed in Cambria, but
I mean, I think Epitaph went from like a gross of 4 million to 70 million the next year. Yes. So like,
you sell 5 million records, it's gonna happen. You know?
So, and that sort of scale expansion for people at home that like, look, I'm not going to tell you not to have a grievance with somebody that owes you money. But as somebody who is owed money and owes money in this life, I can say that most people are not trying to rip you off.
It all comes out in the wash.
I mean, truly. So also, I should say that this might change, but guitar music still makes its money now touring. So I'm not saying allow yourself to get ripped off. I'm really not.
No, of course
not. I'm just saying that your head is in the wrong place if you are harassing a label for what will ultimately split 5 ways amount to fucking like
half your rent for one,
or like a couple pizzas,
right?
You know?
Yeah, pizza.
I mean, I know bands that are chasing people for what I think is like a human diminishing amount of money. What I mean is like, I rent is in a couple days. I hope I make it, but.
Talk quiet. Your roommates are here.
But I will never chase someone for like $200. You know what I mean?
It's like you're debasing yourself
a little bit. And I've had times I'm hella desperate, but like I think that when I see people hang on to these like label beefs for a decade over like what amounts to like fucking $600.
Like I know I've seen the fucking, it ain't that much money.
Right.
There were dudes that I knew that was like, how many records do you guys sell? Mm-hmm. You know, and it'd be like 90,000. I'm like, and you haven't gotten $1? And they're like, nah. And I'm like, well, that's probably fucked up.
So kind of like with money, that's the whole thing. Is there anything you can think about with Trustkill that you wish they had done for your band, or you go like, you know what, in hindsight, because that's kind of, you know, we're able to do a little hindsight here, that you wish they had done for your band?
I always felt like the ugly stepbrother.
It's so weird because you guys were like a highlight to a lot of people. You were the band.
But in the scheme of things, it was like, oh, you're not 18 Visions, and you're not Throwdown, and you're not Poison the Well, and you're not Hope's Fall. But it's like, quite honestly, I'm going to turn into Patrick Kinlan for a second. I will put Nothing in Vain up against any of that shit.
Oh
yeah, look at you.
You know what I mean? Like, I think I don't really love a lot of this stuff. I could if someone is like, put me on something so I can hear what you sound like, I would put that record on and not be embarrassed.
Oh no,
That's
it's
awesome.
still.
But I think like, I mean, I love Poison the Well. I'll say that much. I can't say anything about the other bands, but like, we might not have gotten as big, but I'm prouder than as. I mean, I wouldn't trade that record in for any of the other shit.
You felt like a stepchild.
Because we were like the hardcore band on a, like
You were the hardcore band on a label that was metal and leaning more metalcore.
right,
And,
dudes wearing fucking shirts and ties, and we were going out there in fucking Girl Biscuit shirts,
like a hardcore band.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like we were never kind of like pushed as the like this is the thing. Like we were like these guys are cool too. Maybe we were the cred. Who the fuck knows?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think you were the cred.
Indecision
Can you
had some-
text Josh and be like, "Yo, was Most Precious Blood the cred signing on?"
No, I mean I don't think he had any like fucking.
I don't think so.
Delusion that he was like this band is really going to be the one that breaks.
This
me.
band's gonna be huge. They're gonna be.
It's
huge.
going to be huge.
Gonna be huge.
But you know what I mean? Like I feel like that 17 years later, that record, if you like that style of stuff,
Yeah, it's
kind of holds up.
stick.
A lot of other stuff, not so much.
not at fucking all.
Were you
Just
into
saying.
that kind of stuff at the time?
No, actually. So here's the interesting thing. Well, I do love Throwdown's Haymaker.
You love that.
I
record.
love that
That's
record.
a little later, isn't it?
It's late.
Haymaker's
That's
like
Dave
03,
Peters' version,
02, 03?
Maybe was that
That's got to be in the two. I mean,
Let's look.
early aughts? I mean, right?
no. Early aughts would be in the tens, right? Am I bad?
No, the
at that?
odds are the
0 to 8.
Oh,
Not
then
0 to
yes,
9.
yes. So at any rate, no, 18 Visions missed me completely.
Yeah, I just never got it.
Poison the Well, I own the record. Probably played it 6 times.
Missed me.
Yeah,
The
Some people love Haymaker's 2003,
yeah, that's
actually love that record.
which is the first Trustkill record, and you don't have to be Blood to be Family and Beyond Repair. We're
Indecision.
Indecision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were. Kind of embarrassingly bad records if you go and listen to them now.
Some people ride for them. I mean, I don't ride for any
That's
of it,
crazy.
but yeah.
But that's one of those. Yeah, like when kids think of Throwdown, I think they think of like
Yeah.
Unite instead of like Dave singing about fucking. I feel like that Haymaker record's by far their best stuff.
Easily.
Because then they got to Pantera.
Yeah, it became-
but that record was like his voice is fucking hard.
Oh, you don't really like Venom and Tears, released in 2007?
Really bad.
No,
Or
but they're big.
Intolerance on Steamhammer from 2014?
Steam Hammer.
Is there one after that, or is that the last one?
That's 2014. That's the last
Okay,
one.
so that's the one that sounds like it was recorded on a GarageBand. That one is really fucking bad.
Weird.
But okay, back to the point.
Yes.
No, I wasn't hella into that shit. I was hella
Into most
To be
of the
honest, I was not. If I recall correctly, that was that period because you were going out with like American Nightmare at that
Yep.
time, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we play shows with them. Yeah, but we never toured with them.
So that era is when I just started listening to old shit
Yes.
and you. and that
a
was
lot. I
it.
appreciate that.
Because there was not a lot popping for me at the
That's a
time.
really interesting time frame because I think a lot of kids romanticize a lot of that time or did. And, like, I liked AN. Of modern stuff in that kind of vein, there was nothing else. I wasn't into the Trustkill or Ferret thing, but I think there's a lot of people who really like it. And that was a really big world. Like, really
I
big
think
stuff.
of like there's like a 2-year period that it was like Jane Doe, Ill Blood, fucking the Big Bane records, the fuck,
But I don't even, like, it's funny because those things, like Jane Doe to me in my curriculum, I don't put it there. But now when I look back, I do, but I wasn't into it. Ill Blood for sure. But like there were, like the Bane records, there's that. It's
like there was like a
connective
year or
tissue.
two that was like holy fuck, like
Suicide File was right in there. correct?
Suicide
Yep.
Files on the later side of that stuff, yeah.
There
Yeah,
were-
02, 03.
I would say
02,
that there was probably there was like a 4
And there's Carry On, there's a lot- Hope Con,
a lot
you know?
going on.
a lot of records that people look now where it's like, oh, those are like
Yeah.
modern classics
Yeah.
for best.
And Trustkill and Ferret were doing a lot of big things that they didn't do HopeCon. They didn't do the only thing in this side of stuff that they did with Most Precious Blood.
I guess so.
And you guys floated in both worlds. I don't
Yeah,
think
I'm trying to think what Ferret
Trustkill
did.
didn't do anything else.
No.
Ferret didn't do anything.
I mean, Ferret signed a lot of big bands that went on to be fucking, Killswitch Engage.
Oh yeah, that world was big, and I think it's associated more closely now.
Yeah.
And there was crossover,
Oh,
and,
for sure. And we would play with Reach the Sky more often than we would play with fucking. We never played with 18 Visions.
God bless. Good
We
for
played
them.
once. We played CB's. They opened for us.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? 18 Visions is a band that on this particular podcast gets shitted on a little bit, I think.
I mean, it's not in any of our lanes, and that's cool. People like it. Good for them.
lot of people like it.
A lot of
Wow.
those dudes are still straight edge. I respect that.
Oh, is that right?
They all are.
No shit.
All the guys that are still playing it.
No shit.
Like James Hart, still fucking straight edge.
Is he still a beast? Is he still a physically big guy?
I think so. And that dude was always...
This is a weird question.
Yeah.
But
Pause.
Is masculinity. Here we go.
But no, he's a fucking tough dude.
yeah, I feel bad because I know that some of our listeners really ride for 18 Visions, and
that's cool.
And we can never find anything nice to say.
No, I mean, all right, you know what? I will. Let's go nice on them. What I said about the Orange County scene is that side of stuff became hugely influential in a way that maybe doesn't get talked about. 18 Visions, Throwdown, a few others, bleeding through.
Yeah,
and there was that was going on, and kind of. We're shitting on it, but those bands sold more records than 99% of what we talk about.
I've put out 50 records, and they will always have more records sold than I will.
Cumulatively.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, and there was a time that was legitimately the biggest scene in the entire country.
Right. And it grew into a national scene.
Local bands would be playing, 1,500 caps and selling it out.
Well, let me talk about
Glass
that.
House and all this other sort of stuff,
That's what let's give that to them. That they made that little scene.
They made that. They took a local scene national.
Of goofy.
National
It was a goofy
to
scene.
a 500 plus cap room everywhere scene.
And I mean, what's going on now is, 18 Visions might not have sold 1 million records. They kind of did with all the people that they influenced.
Oh,
yeah, that's probably true.
You know what I'm saying? Like fucking Motionless in White is named after partially after an 18 Vision song.
Right.
Papa Roach didn't always look like that. That dude looks like fucking fake James Hart now. All those dudes, no one was getting dressed.
Yeah.
And getting, you know what I'm saying?
Everyone who listens to more relevant, young, fast hardcore is tuning us out so hard right now. And that's but that's what we talk about.
Probably want to hear about fucking Trustkill and get, everyone's got their own fucking
yeah, so
whatever, next.
But yeah. No, this is, that's Trustkill. So the question was there anything that you would have liked for a label? And let's not Trustkill. It could have been Wreckage. It could have been a Revelation. Anybody. Is there anything you can think of man, if a label did this for us, it would have really helped? You guys are a real do-it-yourselfer thing, and really kind of.
We got more places than the records did, and I wish that was different, especially for.
Oh, that's a good.
Trustkill, it's like any hardcore label. I mean, we could walk in anywhere,
and things were a little different by then, even just in time.
Yeah, but Exit, it was kind of at least have it in the fucking hardcore record stores,
right?
Have people be able to find it at least if they wanted to, and they didn't. You know what I mean?
That's true.
That's about it. I mean, and it still sold well enough. You know what I mean? With no help. So
I think that question is one that a lot of bands Tom is too magnanimous. You know what I mean? He's too forgiving of and kind to everybody.
He's the best. Yeah.
But I think a lot of bands would have a go-to answer for that question, and I think 90% of the time they would be wrong.
I mean, I was in a band with my friends in high school.
Right. That's
all it was to me. I didn't give a fuck if it was, we played, you know what I'm saying? So we got to play in front of a couple of more 100 kids. That's all I fucking ever wanted. I didn't give a shit. I wasn't expecting to fucking, you know what I mean? I was in a touring band for 2 or 3 years. I lived in New York City, and I paid my rent off of fucking hardcore.
Yeah.
What else could I really ask for?
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'd come home, I'd be able to pay rent for a couple months in between tours and not have to go to work.
Yeah.
As a hardcore band,
feeling good.
Who's doing that now? 10 bands.
Yeah, 10. Are you kidding?
If that.
3.
Yeah.
3.
I mean, Jamie Hatebreed's not getting a job when he gets home.
But Jamie, come on.
I mean, current bands?
Yeah.
Riley Powtrip, dude's not going to get a job on the way home. Jamie Morgan, not getting a job. Brendan, not getting a job. Other than that,
I don't see anybody. No.
I mean,
no.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? We're pretty fucking fortunate, and that's all,
But as we've talked about, there was probably 10 at the time that you were playing.
Oh, easily.
Maybe more.
Probably
No.
more.
Or anyone who was actively pushing. You guys were a hard-working band.
We toured a lot. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure. But I mean, you got to think. You know what I mean? Between '98 and the 2003 or whatever, all those bigger bands,
Yeah.
4-Punch probably didn't. Did Porter have to work?
They didn't. No. Those dudes they played 26 shows. And
that's true. That's fair. Yeah.
They weren't. They were
I always think of them as a fucking hard.
No. But
they were so
Converge,
popular. Yeah.
Bane, AN, When Hope Con was doing their thing, they probably would have been able to do it had they gone. I mean,
Right.
Then you go to the Trustkill side of things, and I don't think Poison the Well, 18 Visions, Bleeding Through, Throwdown, Most Precious Blood. Like, you could go down the roster, and then you go to Ferret and a lot. And then, where the Ferret stuff goes a little bit later,
And
the dudes from Census Fail drop out of high school because they didn't have to. They were like, we're making salaries now. Let's
I don't need to go to school to.
I might want to reconsider that now. But a thing that maybe isn't talked about a lot is that there are bands that we know that are not making crazy money, right? At all. Nobody's making crazy money, just so everybody's clear.
Yeah, no one's making fuck you money.
Right. Nobody.
Yeah.
But some bands do shocking shirt numbers through web stores. Like shocking.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I think that when we factor that into the equation of when bands could be actual touring entities and make money, I mean, there was a time that like everybody was dumb. Everybody was fucking like, in their early mid-20s, whatever, and really stupid. But conceivably, if you were living at your mom's house, you really could have made strides towards like a future and a
like
life.
owning stuff.
Yes, owning stuff.
Yeah, if you were being smart and putting that money away.
Right, and nobody was, but like
no, but you totally could have been like, I can just pocket all this money and live for free.
yeah,
Like, you know
particularly because most of it is unreported. Are you kidding?
Yeah, true. Uncle Sam done that.
As an adult now, when you think about unreported money, you're like, oh my god,
It's like worth double.
yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, so do we have any more label questions? This is
there's a lot.
This is a lot. We can do.
No, because we were hoping to talk about like what bands should expect out of labels, and what labels do that are good. Like,
I mean, PK can talk more to that currently than anybody.
Well, let's put it.
I don't think so. Less than me, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I mean, like I put out
No, I think
17 years.
we should put a pin in it.
Well, here's the pin. I think that let's build this into our state of current hardcore labels.
Yeah, okay. Because I think that was good foundational stuff.
Yeah.
And like I think the thing that I kept hearing when you were talking, Tom, was that like you didn't go in with these expectations of what a label is going to do from you just based on your background, right? Like,
no, it was just like play. We had no ulterior motives. We wanted someone to put out pay for a recording and put out records. Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't like $10,000. It was like probably a $3,000 recording.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that dude recouped his money the first week.
Yes.
Let's be realistic. You know what I mean? Like
pre-sale, yes.
Bands before that were, Indecision during they were on a label. Release Secure came out on a label called MIA Records.
Yep.
The dude that funded that label was like a multi-millionaire. So he was doling out money like nobody's business. So in 1999, Indecision probably got $40,000 to record. Fuck you.
What?
So did Disassociate. So did what's the bit? Fuck.
These are the records.
Yeah.
This is the record
Yeah.
that Tom's not on.
Yes,
everybody.
Yeah, cool. I'm blanking on the band. They're still around now from down south.
Still around.
Metalcore band. I'm blanking on them.
That's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, they put their first record out on that label. Why am I blanking?
Right.
It was dudes from maybe from Virginia. Holy shit, I'm totally being an old man right now and I can't remember their name. And they're huge. We just talked about them.
I mean, I'm sure.
Extinction AD went out with them. It was them, Whores, and that band. But they were just giving out money. Label was gone in 2 years. And
Darkest Hour?
Darkest Hour. Jesus Christ. Sorry, fellas. But they were giving out money. So that label literally lasted a year or two. And Indecision, to this day, when we would do shows, we would still have Release Secure CDs to sell because they would sell them pallets of them for $1 a piece.
Yep.
So it was kind of it's good to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This sounds like a tax shelter situation. Something going on here.
We could talk off air with the guy actually did.
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think about those things. But, I think there should be certain expectations of a band, of a label.
Yeah.
In terms of what they can do and what they can't. And, it's about having the right expectation set. And what we kind of start all this, a band can do a lot on their own.
Yeah.
A lot. But that doesn't always easy. And sometimes there's things that a band can't do by themselves because of knowledge, because of bandwidth, because of whatever.
Access to things. And
exactly.
Well, that's that.
It's symbiotic. No one should be working any harder than the other party. I think.
But here's
You would hope.
You would
but-
hope. I mean, in an ideal world.
But here's the thing that when I was barking on Death Wish one time, Trey just leveled with me. He's like, very calmly, was just like, look, I understand where you're coming from. You are the center of your world, and I've got 11 of you right now. You know what I mean? So I have, like, you can't be the center of my world. Like,
I got to prioritize.
Your band is always going to be the most important thing in the world. At best, what you can hope for over here is that you are as important as everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that sometimes we are able to focus in and make you our point.
You might have a time to shine, and we put a lot of focus on you. But regarding what bands can and can't do, that's why we retained a lawyer. Is because I have no access to, I would say, 70% of the labels that I was interested in talking to.
And let's think about the audiences we're talking about. You were talking to bigger labels.
Yeah,
For this world, you know, Death Wish is not some small label. You don't need a lawyer to talk to Death Wish.
No,
but they are probably one of the more accessible if you want people to take you seriously, and you guys want people to take you seriously. And we're not telling young band. You're young. You're touring.
If
you're big,
you want to be on Death Wish, do not have your lawyer approach them. That is the wrong approach.
Right. I mean, it's also a fucking label run by two punk kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it totally
But
they're on the up and up.
But I wanted options, right?
Sure.
And to do that, it was like, you know, and as it turned out,
So you're saying you didn't win to Profound Lore with a demo tape and a gun and be like, yo, sit the fuck down, you're listening to this now.
They didn't hit Profound Lore. So the lawyer was hitting. He actually is the same lawyer that Drug Church uses, and for Drug Church, there's many more options for Drug Church,
sure,
in terms of label than there is self defense, and. But no, okay, I'm not going to say we didn't need the lawyer. The lawyer's still a total asset to the band, and I'm happy to have
As
it.
we are.
Yes. However, Run for Cover was that came about when I sent Jeff the record and said, hey, we're considering our options on our like we were talking about something else.
Yeah.
And I said,
what do you think?
I said, we're considering our options on the next record. Do you know anybody that can you think of anybody that I'm not thinking of?
Like, listen to this. Where do you see this?
Where do you see this?
Interesting. And then he was like,
well, Jeff had offered a long time ago. He said, listen, I know that the Death Wish is your home, but we'll do literally anything you want.
Wow.
And I've always appreciated that.
That's really cool,
the dudes over there are cool as fuck. But but Jeff, like a month and a half later, was like,
right.
Yo, I'm sorry. I just listened to this and it's fucking great.
I'd love to.
Yeah. Do you do? And so as it turned out, we didn't quote unquote need the lawyer, but also because when I was like, hey, here's the offer from Run for Cover, the lawyer said, look, I can definitely get you more money. I can't get you a better deal. You know what I mean? So so take it if you want a good deal, because
and the lawyer was for a lot of contract and contact. Stuff. So
for sure, pay for that. Yeah.
I mean, still a great asset
for smaller bands. You're hopefully not having to do that, and I hope that someday you have to have it at lawyer. But most bands, if you're listening to this and taking anything from us, you're probably not in that world.
So as a label guy, here's a question for you: like, how would you in 2018 say? Mm-hmm. How would you recommend a younger band without an in gets? So I feel like the link, emailing my link to you is the equivalent of sending the unrequested demo that goes right into the garbage. Mm-hmm. How would you expect, I'm starting a new band. I'm a young kid, 23 years old. I know some bands around. How would you think I should reach out to, maybe not a Run for Cover, but a label that releases hardcore records? How would you think someone should kind of reach out to them?
Reach out.
Yeah.
Mutual contacts. You're friendly with some other bands,
right?
Float it out, so that starts by working hard and playing some shows.
Sure.
However that happens, whether it's you're booking some other shows, getting on shows, that's the first step. The second step is then talking to people and be like, oh, we're thinking about doing a 7-inch. Do you think, do you know anybody? Do you get honest feedback from your, peers in whatever way you want to look at peers?
Sure.
And that could be saying to a band you really like, or you're friendly with, because it's still there,
right?
And just saying, what would you pass this along? Would you see? And that at least gives you a couple feelers. and
Sure.
talking to your friends who maybe know people. And it's literally just talk to people.
Right. How successful would you say the old cold call goes nowadays?
I mean,
Or even in your years,
No,
yeah.
when I was doing it 13 years ago, very poorly. Very
If
poorly.
you didn't ask for
and
it.
So the guy who directly preceded me, who was a very nice guy, did what most people did with demos and either threw them away, but he pretty much just let them pile up in a box. I listened to every single one.
Interesting.
And some for 2 minutes, some for a minute, some for 20 minutes, whatever it was.
Did we ever talk about any of the bands that you had that you're like? Did we have? I don't know if we ever talked. Was this a group text conversation that was like, what's a band that like you had that you were like, and they went on to like be fucking? Did we ever talk about that?
Kind of, a little bit. I mean, not like Title Fight was presented to me.
Sure,
But they were super young, and it would have ruined their career had they signed with
Right, we did
Revelation,
talk
they were
about this
15
now that I
and whatever.
remember. Yeah,
and you know, I certainly would have been like, oh yeah, like last thing you forget. Oh, hey, we should figure something out.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, it was way early before they even had Kingston anything. But
Okay.
So no, I mean, I listened to everything, and I honestly got nothing.
But you're a rare.
I'm rare,
breed
and
for doing that.
I just did it because I thought it was courtesy, and I wanted to
respect,
overextend.
yeah.
But no one does that, and I would not do that to people who, if I was working at a label and I was just getting blind emails, because even at the time in 2004-05, I saw that and said somebody took the time, put this in a thing, and mailed it. The ones that were just a blind promo kit that said "Dear Label,"
that sucks, yeah.
that might make 30 seconds and.
Right.
Because
like,
I saw that was just some bullshit.
Yeah, you sent that out to 47 different other ones.
But the people who would write a handwritten thing, I saw that as like, yo, you're trying really hard, and I would try to give realistic feedback. I'd try to be positive about it and kind of nice, and be like, hey, this isn't for us. Good luck.
Sure.
If I could make a suggestion, it is the only suggestion that I'm adamant about in life. Most things, if you told me, hey, Patrick, I'm going to do it my own way, I got a system here, I'd be like, well, fuck, all right.
Go for it, babe. Yeah.
With all my heart, never send a long email.
Oh, yeah, no.
Never
In life.
Never in your fucking life.
I get that at work. I'm like, get to the fucking point. Give me points.
I got even now doing comic book stuff. People will hit me with like, because you know it's a hard it's a hard business to break into. So people will ask questions and like, it's like I just got to respond. First things first. Like you're too long. You know
bullet
what I mean?
points,
like
bro.
3 paragraphs that are 2 sentences long. That's the extent.
Exactly.
That's the extent of what you're allowed to
Break it up so it's easier to see and process.
You glaze over and
Yeah.
it's sort of.
Definitely break it up. Definitely.
Somebody was trying to talk like proper form and grammar. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. This is an email. This isn't. Make sure it's look. You should be able to look at it, read it, concise, done.
The most successful people I know can't read. So bear that in mind. I'm being sincere. They have. This is no exaggeration.
Right.
The 2 people I know who are self-made multimillionaires do not know the difference between there, and there. If you pressed a gun to the side of their head and told them you were going to end their life if they got it wrong,
And
they would have a 1 in 3 chance. You know what I mean?
Right,
Because
right.
they do not fucking know.
Right.
So bear that in mind and swallow that world. Understand that the most successful people are not the people doing it the right way. They're doing it the fastest. So just
Get to it.
So fucking get to it.
Keep it moving, shoot your shot. Go.
Yeah.
No long emails. And so let's go longer on different recommendations. But you know, if you have questions about label stuff, you can get 3 different people's opinion, and maybe we're not all going to give you the same thing. But let's do it. We'll do a whole episode like that. How long we got?
We should wind down, but I'm going to ask what everybody's been listening to.
Okay.
I've obviously been listening to the Hers Collective.
Yes,
the Hers Collective.
yeah, you have.
I highly recommend it. Everyone should give it a shot. Super heavy, super fast. Vocals are great. Riffs, moshy.
It is moshy,
It's
right?
moshy,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. See,
Like,
that's the part. That's the part that I thought was maybe lost on people that were like, "Oh, it's like fast." It's like, no, it's
No,
it's fucking
it's like
mosh.
there's parts that are grindy to a point, but it's not like.
Not grind.
But the mosh parts are like mosh parts.
Yeah.
It's not a grind mosh part. It's like
It's an unrepentant mosh part.
yeah,
A
like
Punisher mosh.
you know what I mean? If you're letting your own weirdness kind of keep you away from that sort of stuff and your own closed-mindedness, you are fucking missing out because it's fucking hard.
I would say that even if I don't know, does this kid exist anymore? Is there like a Swarm fan still out there?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Sure, Callahan.
Do you remember when the Swarm?
Of course.
That was a thing. Yeah.
And somebody actually emailed us. This is an interesting one to recommend to a Chris Callahan fan. Go check out Here's Collective.
There you go.
Interesting. Yeah.
Bob, what you been listening to?
All right, let's see. Last week we talked a lot about new music, but I did have 4 demos that I've been checking out.
Wow.
Dominant Force, Florida, straightforward, hardcore, great.
Florida is murdering it. Right now.
I mean, the 3 of the 4 bands. Seed of Pain is a heavier thing. I believe I've been told they used to be called Sandman. I think this is a step up. I actually like this demo a lot. People who are into like the heavier stuff, but not in a... it's still pretty straightforward hardcore. I like it a lot. Vortex, Chicago, very fast.
That one I don't know.
Very fast. Just put out a demo on Advanced Perspective, and the other release on Advanced Perspective, Result of Choice, another Florida band. Really like it. Fast, kind of has its own unique thing going on.
Okay. And I've been listening to the new Hop Along record. This is like a very perplexing record for me.
I saw you tweet about it.
I can't figure out if I like it or not. I mean, I like it, but I can't figure out it's just
What's the vibe?
So, have you heard this band before?
I feel, you know what? It's my own.
He threw it in the group chat midday, so you were actually working, but the rest of us were just like, let's talk about this.
So,
in my head, it's like fest music.
It is. It is.
Florida Fest.
It is.
You think that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You think that new one is?
I could be totally
not
fucking
the new
wrong.
one.
Okay,
But in my head, when I hear Hop
that's what-
Along,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I think.
No, I think that's
so,
accurate.
So you're
like
not
Chumped and all these like kind of like
Okay,
bands that exist in that kind of
that space where indie meets Americana meets coming from like arguably a pop punk scene, if we're not being slurry.
Yeah.
So that's what it sounded like previously with this utterly wild woman's voice. Like the voice is just crazy, right? This new record is they play down her voice, which is so odd. And then they make the songs really catchy. And it is, but catchy in like, if I'm going to be a cynic, I would say that last Paramore record, where everything is sort of dancey and a weird, you know what I mean?
like disco-y almost.
Right. It, like
weird.
But so this goes from like Cursive to Vampire Weekend to like dancey sort of thing. And I admire this for not doing the same thing. I also think it's their best record, but it smooths her edges. And
Which really was something that was made
really stand out.
Yeah.
And just to compare it to another like Philly, Jersey band, Screaming Females, I think their last record did the same thing where her shredding was the fucking wild part. And they toned that down for a more accessible record. And these are these bands' best records that also I kind of resent that they had to shave the edges off to make their best records. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I liked a lot of the early Screaming Female stuff. And like I listened to that after your recommendation. It's a totally different record.
Totally different.
Really good. I mean, they're all really good, but it's a totally different band.
Try the Hop Along trajectory
And see where it goes. Yeah.
This record took me a couple listens to like, but I do really like it. It's just also like, because my complaint about the band previously was that the songs just weren't there. This woman's voice is bananas, and the song.
Bananas
You're
in a
saying
good
it's
way.
crazy. He's saying it's crazy. She's just got a great voice.
Oh, great
Yeah,
voice.
yeah.
Like bananas in a great way.
Yeah,
Not
you
like
were
a
saying it was
Diamanda
crazy,
Galassi
and it was like,
way.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is. It's nutty. It's like it's very unique. But at any rate, that record, it's called "Bark Your Head Off, Dog." Give it a shot. If you when I went searching for opinions on Twitter, people gave me very divergent opinions. People saying this is their best work. Other people being like, I can't connect with this at all, and I'm a big fan.
And you asked the question, is this good or is this NPR music? I said it's certainly NPR music.
It is bumper music for
And
sure.
and it gave me a lot of Cardigans vibes. So
You know what? Maybe not far off. And the other thing is, I think a big influence on our last podcast, where I was just ripping every fucking band like an asshole, was that new J. Cole song, 1985.
I listened to that.
I really think that some old head guitar band needs to do
a 1985.
and
for
needs to
punk
do a
rock.
1985. I think that would be very compelling. I mean, kids would hate it, but fuck them. Like, If you are good at it, maybe it'd stick. So that's what I've been listening. That's what I've been listening to. Also, the Earth Crisis demo 1993.
Is that the one with the taxi driver samples?
No.
Someday a real rain is going to come.
That's Firestorm on the demo.
On that demo? No, that's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
It's on
Yes,
that demo.
yes,
That's the demo.
Yes. And anyway, that's what I've been listening to. Anything else we got to say? Thank you for bearing with us.
Yes, thank you.
We pontificated quite a bit this time.
We got esoteric. We kind of dwelled down some band holes, but that was good because I think it's good. You got to understand people. You listen to this, you're going to get personal experiences. Thanks.
There you go.
That's what we got.
You know the deal. If you enjoyed what you listened to, you rate and review it on iTunes. You put the little 5 stars. And if you really enjoy it, then you go check out the Patreon where there's.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yo, shout out to all the people. We prior to us getting on the air, we worked out some fucking hot shit. You got some shit coming. Good for you. Listen to my other podcast, which is called Wrestling Cinema.
Highly recommend it.
Thank you so much.
I like it.
And
yeah, it's good.
It's weird to listen to because I'm so used to hearing your voice with us. Mm-hmm. It's almost like watching like your band with a different singer, which I'm very familiar with. But it's kind of weird.
You might have more familiarity with that than almost anybody.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not as good.
When it's not as good, yeah.
Yeah, but you guys are as good as us. I'll give you that much.
We got a nice rapport.
Eric is very personable. I like him a lot.
It's an affable dude. And you can add us at Axe to Grindcast. That's on Twitter. You can check it out on Facebook. And do we have any
us.
email us, yeah.
At Axe to Grind Podcast.
We
gmail.com.
shockingly get to a lot of those. So
yes, thank you, Bob.
So everybody,
who's we? My dad would say, "What do you got? A mouse in your pocket?"
It's the royal way. We're good. We good with that.
What do you got a mouse in your pocket?
That's the answer. The royal way. I'm with the royal way.
Yes, thank you everyone for supporting.
This has been another episode of Axe to Grind. Thank you again.